Your money, your taxes, your truck, and your road to success in the trucking industry. This is Trucking Business and Beyond, the show that puts the money where it belongs, back in your pocket.
Good morning, you beautiful bunch of fuckers, and welcome to my world. I'm your host, Kevin Rutherford. It is Wednesday, August 14th. We are here live. It's time for Destination Health. It's a true health free-for-all today. I have no guests. I have no theme. Totally up to you what you want to talk about today. So phone lines are open. Pick up those phones and join me. If you're watching on the live stream, the number is 855 950-3835. If you're listening on the app, you can hit that call now button. We're doing something a little different today as well. So if you are a member of the tribe site, Let's Truck Tribes, you can see the live stream on there today. It looks like you can anyway. I'm watching it right now. I think it's actually working. So we keep expanding our ability to broadcast. We're not done with our app yet, but we've made some improvements. So now I'm able to live stream to the tribe site as well. So check that out. What else we got going on today? We got a whole bunch of stuff. I think Lisa's putting together a special today. She was feeling generous this morning. I think we're going to do a discount on Wild Planet. So we can talk about that later. I've got a couple things while the calls are coming in. Let me get back to my notes. I didn't really watch in fact, I didn't watch any of the Olympics this year. After the opening ceremony and some of the other things, I was just kind of disgusted with the whole thing. I don't know why we have to politicize everything anymore. I don't know why sports just can't be sports, but there was just controversy after controversy. And I didn't watch any of the events. I normally watch all the wrestling, and that's usually on at like 3 o'clock in the morning. I didn't watch anything this year, but I've been following the news. And of all the places to try to push a plant-based diet, the Olympics are probably the wrong one. But that's what they did. I think they increased, I remember a statistic I saw somewhere, they increased the amount of plant-based food by 60% because they wanted to lower the carbon footprint. What a bunch of bullshit. Nothing about plant food lowers any carbon footprint. All of this is just such a scam. And the athletes immediately started complaining about it because they couldn't get enough meat and eggs. That's what they wanted. And instead, they were given a bunch of plant-based food. So much so that countries started sending their own food over for their teams. There was a story that was all over social media about one of it was a female, I think she might have been in track and field. And she actually snuck out and went and got a steak somewhere. That story was all over social media. And yet I went to look for it just now to get some details, and I couldn't even find it in a search, which seems kind of odd. So clearly, the athletes wanted the meat and eggs. The Olympic Committee decided to push the plant-based foods. It's just being pushed everywhere, and it makes no sense whatsoever. Something else I read yesterday that just absolutely disgusted me, and I'm not sure why I'm surprised about this, but I am. And in my mind, this is criminal behavior, and it should be prosecuted. It won't be. Um, After watching what happened with the opioid crisis and how doctors were just handing out opioids like candy and running pill mills, and it took them years to shut that down, even though people were dying constantly over that. It took them years to shut that down. And that was egregious. So this is not going to get much attention at all, but it should. So if you remember, we had the author Casey Means on the show a month or so ago. Really impressive. A young doctor, really impressive medical career, walked away from it all, started her own functional medicine clinic. Her brother is a big food insider. I think he worked at, I think it was Pepsi for a long time. And now he works exposing all the problems with big food and big pharma and our healthcare system. And um, he posted yesterday, and I completely believe this. No doubt in my mind this is happening, that Ozempic has become so popular, these weight loss drugs that are really diabetic drugs. Um, Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, there's many of them now, and there's more coming. They were all approved as diabetic drugs. Now, doctors are allowed to prescribe any drug they want for any condition. There's really no restrictions on them for that. And I'm okay with that. That doesn't bother me. But if a drug isn't approved for a certain condition, many times, most of the time, insurance just won't pay for it. So if you want your doctor to prescribe you something for weight loss, say in this case, but it's really a diabetic drug, the doctor can prescribe it. There's nothing wrong with that. So I'm not saying that's a problem. But insurance usually won't pay for it. And these drugs are expensive. So here's what's happening. Doctors are actually coaching their patients to drink a soda and eat a donut before they come in for their fasting glucose test. So this test should be done after they haven't consumed any food or beverage for at least 12 hours. So it's usually at least overnight. Then you show up in the morning, you take a fasting glucose test. And that's important because we're looking for a certain number. And basically, if you go over 100, 110 on a fasting, they label that as pre-diabetes. If you go over, I think it's 140, then you're diabetic. So these doctors are committing both medical fraud and insurance fraud when they do this. But it works because here's what happens. You'll show up for a fasting glucose test, and most people today, if they drink a soda and eat a donut, they're going to be probably up in the high 100s or more, 200 plus. If they eat it about an hour before, I'm sure that's what they're being coached on, so they have the highest number possible. Now that number qualifies them as type 2 diabetic, and now those drugs will be covered under insurance for the rest of their life. Ozempic is the big one. Wegovy is now approved for weight loss, but there's some criteria. You have to be so many pounds overweight. So uh, this isn't slowing down. These weight loss drugs are horrendous. The side effects are horrible. If you stop taking the drug, you gain the weight back. We all know that that's how weight loss works. You can't do something to lose weight and then stop doing it. But that's what's happening. These doctors are coaching them to drink a soda and eat a donut. And now we get to pay for their diabetic and weight loss medication for the rest of their life. Because that's how insurance works. Insurance costs us all. And these are the kind of practices that lead to these outrageous insurance rates that we all have to pay. I had a couple other things, but I've got some calls coming in, so I think we're going to get to the calls. Let's get started in Ohio. Ashley, welcome to the program.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi there. What's on your mind this morning?
So I had to go to my family doctor to have lab works done so that I had to have shoulder surgery.
Okay.
And he called me yesterday with my results. And he told me that everything looked good except for my estrogen was really high. And then he also said that my iron was really high.
Okay.
He said that my iron was supposed to be 144 and it's 188.
Yeah, and that's not as bad as it sounds. That's one of those numbers
Okay.
that doesn't overly concern me. You want to know the quickest way to fix this? And if we were really concerned about it, and I'm not, we would do deeper testing. There's multiple ways to test iron. And
Okay.
the doctors, it's just like every other test. They have one number they look at, one set of criteria, and that it's so regimented. I've said that doctors should be worried. AI could easily replace most doctor visits today. It's that structured and regimented, and the doctors don't have much choice. You have this number on this lab report. We're supposed to recommend this drug or procedure. AI could do this stuff all day long. The doctors aren't even allowed to think anymore.
Right.
And most of them wouldn't know
Yeah,
how
and
to
then
think, unfortunately.
he asked me, what do you eat? And I said, well, I'm basically on a carnivore diet. The
And
only other thing that I
he
eat into
blamed
my
that
diet is
on
maybe
the
potatoes.
high iron, right?
And yeah,
Yeah, of course he
and
did.
he's like, well, your cholesterol is going to start getting higher,
Good,
and you need
good.
to cut down to 3 days worth of red meat.
Oh,
Talk.
bullshit.
Yeah,
Don't listen. And I can tell
yeah. I was
already by
like,
your voice you're not going to. Yeah, your cholesterol is going higher. Good. We all live longer the higher our cholesterol numbers are. And if you're eating a good animal-based diet, your total cholesterol will go up. Your cholesterol profile will get much, much better. Always does. We see this every time. But again, they're so regimented. All they know is if your total cholesterol goes over this number, they have to prescribe a statin or recommend one.
yeah.
Or
Well,
that
I won't be taking one of those.
good, good. So,
But he
with
does want me to come back in 3 months for more blood work, and I don't think I'm going to go back in.
I
I
wouldn't.
only had to have it for
Yeah.
surgery, so
If you're concerned about any of these numbers and you want more blood work, I'm okay with that. Go to a functional medicine doctor, though, where we're going to get real data
okay.
and we'll use real scales and know what really matters. Here's a quick way to get that iron number down without testing to see if we even need to. Like I said, there's different forms of iron, there's different ways of measuring it in our body. And I'm not too concerned about this number, but one of the quick ways to get it down is go give blood.
Okay.
It's the easiest and
Yes.
quickest way, but
Just
I'm not concerned about this. I've shown up. Men show up a lot more with high iron, but we have to remember their numbers are based on people eating the standard American diet, and their numbers
right.
are never designed to create optimal health. Their numbers are designed to sell more pharmaceuticals. Y- Most people don't realize the threshold on cholesterol, not that long ago, I'm thinking maybe 20 years, I'd have to go back and look. There was a time when the threshold on cholesterol was 300 before they even talked about doing anything. 300. I almost never see anybody over that these days. I'm in the mid to high 200s. But that used to be the standard. But then they realized, look, if we make that 250, now we can sell more statins. If we make it 200, now we can sell more statins. If we make it 180, we can sell even more statins. They do the same thing with blood pressure. Their numbers aren't based on optimal health. They are based on selling more blood pressure medication. The whole system is rigged like that. It's awful.
It really is. I actually work for an orthopedic
Oh, so you see this all the
company.
time.
Yes, when you were talking, as soon as you started talking about the pharmaceuticals and the doctors making people eat the donut and stuff
Yeah.
in the morning before
Well,
going for their
well,
fasting blood work, I'm like, that's insurance fraud. Like, you
it's
can't do that. If Medicare even gets a whiff of that, they are going to be shut down immediately.
here's the problem, though. I agree with you. It is absolute insurance fraud. It's also medical fraud. There
Yes,
has to be some rule, regulation, law against this. Clearly, you're telling a patient to fake a medical test, and you're doing it
yes.
to cheat insurance. I believe there's at least two violations there. But I have,
There is one on the patient and one on the doctor because the patient is also committing insurance fraud
oh yeah, you're
by
right.
lying.
You're right. I have no confidence whatsoever that anybody will ever be brought up on charges for this. I don't think anybody will investigate it. Like I said, if you look at what went on with the opioids and how bad that
Yeah,
got and how long it took them to shut that down and how many people died and became addicts and it took them decades to stop that. And that was so blatantly wrong. So this where the doctor just kind of says, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, wake up, forget you're supposed to be fasting, eat a soda and a donut. Nobody's ever going to prosecute that, ever.
No, and the protocol when you go in for that lab work is they ask you if you've eaten anything or drank
Absolutely.
anything since,
Right.
and when was the last time that you had something. And if they sit there and they lie about it before having that blood work done,
Oh,
then they're also committing that fraud.
yeah. Yeah, it's just awful. And
It really is.
and we all pay for it. I'm just so disgusted with the whole thing. If I
My
were you,
mom's actually on that Ozempic
is she
for weight
really?
loss,
For
and I
weight
have told
loss.
her multiple times
Oh,
to get off of it, that it is not worth it, and she just does not want to listen.
wow.
I have tried.
I
Yep.
know. It's so
She's lost a
sad.
lot of weight, but I would never. I'm 5'3". I weigh 113 pounds. I like.
That-
I'm very active.
yeah,
I have 3 kids that I'm constantly running all over the place.
yes. Yes.
So when it came to her and she's like, "Yeah, I'm taking this shots for weight loss," I said, "No, that's for diabetics, and you're taking it away from them. Like,
Yeah.
it's not
I,
something that you should be on."
I-
And she does not want to hear it. And her friend, who is a nurse, she's an RN, is now taking it. I'm like, do
I-
you not read anything on that label? Like,
I-
you're an RN, you should know more than anybody what that is going to do to your body.
Here's the other thing I want to do, and maybe you should do this for. I've told people to try this experiment, because it's crazy when you do this. All the drug commercials on TV make me insane. They're always happy pictures of people, laying on the beach, and yeah, everybody looks fit and healthy and happy, and they're all doing cool stuff. And while all that is on the screen, they're reading off the list of side effects in the background. Here's something you should try. Everybody should try this. Pick a specific drug commercial, and it's easy. They're on the TV all the time. And the first time you watch it, I want you could do this in either order. It doesn't really matter. Watch it once with the sound off so that all you're seeing are the images. And just watch the commercial and pay attention and think, okay, with no sound, think, oh, I wonder what this commercial's about. Because you really kind of don't know, other than there's a name of a drug up on the screen. But then I want you to watch it where you turn the sound on, but you don't watch the screen. Close your eyes, turn the other way, whatever, and just listen. And it is insane when you start to listen to the side effects of these drugs these days. Side effects for drugs used to be headache, nausea, sleepiness, stuff like that. I get it. Now
Right.
it's death, increased risk of suicide, multiple cancers could occur from this drug. Your package might fall off if you're a guy. I mean, there are just some horrendous side effects to these things. And if people would just listen to those, and are you really willing to risk any of those potential side effects to lose some weight that won't be permanent, and you're going to have to take this drug the rest of your life?
Right. And I told her, I said, "Why don't you try eating like this?" And then she doesn't. She will not stick to
Yeah,
the carnivore diet.
right.
But then yesterday when I told her that my iron was high, she's like, "What did they do back in the caveman days?" And I just started laughing. I'm like, "Really? Coming from you, sitting here saying this to me, who I've been eating like this for the past 3 years?"
and
Like,
and and she can see the
I was just
results,
dumbfounded.
right? She can see the results. And you can share the results with her, and it's right in front of people when they're exposed to this, how well it works. And yet I'm just shocked. I thought this would, and I do have to say, carnivore is becoming far more popular than I ever thought it would, but it's still nowhere near enough.
No, I agree. Yeah, she goes out to eat way too much. I told her that. I told her about all the stuff that is in the food when you go out to eat, and I'm like, "Stop doing that." She doesn't want to listen. She's in her 50s. She's my mom, so she knows everything according to her. And whatever I say is just like, "Oh, whatever." But
Yeah.
yeah, I wanted to call in because I know that I knew that you would tell me to go and give blood
Yeah.
for the iron being high. And I knew that you would see that those numbers were not high.
Nothing I'm really worried about, right?
Yeah. So I figured I would just, the funny part is actually when I had my daughter, I was actually highly anemic to the point where they were doing iron infusions. And then I had to go, and I ended up having a surgery because I was done having kids at that time. She was my third. I went and I had a bilateral tubal, and I also had an ablation because my monthly cycles were heavy.
Right.
So they said that that's what was causing it.
Absolutely.
And then
that's much more common in women when we see low iron. But even then, we have to be careful how we're measuring the iron. I had a couple people in group coaching where their doctors said, you're very low on iron. We're going to supplement iron. And I'm not a big fan of supplementing iron. Eat more meat, eat more organ meats. So we can get the iron in our diet. And when we did the correct testing, we found out they shouldn't be supplementing at all.
Yeah, and that was my problem. I ate horrible when she was younger.
Right.
And that was, she's going to be 9 this year. So that was a long time ago. But since eating the carnivore diet and, I don't take any medications. I don't do anything like that. Since doing that, now my iron is over the threshold, and which is okay.
It really is. Like I said, go give blood. It'll be fine. I'm not worried about this number.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thank you very much, Kevin.
You're welcome. Thanks for the call. Let's go to Iowa. Jerry, welcome to the program.
Hi, Kevin. You'll be happy to know it's a cinnamon maple nut butter day.
There you go. Love those days.
Just enjoying the cinnamon nut. Oh, it's so good. I swear. I really love that stuff, and I probably eat too much of it, but that's all right. It's good for you anyway. It's good for your store. So
thank you for the support. We love it.
Yeah. Hey, I regret that I'm calling on behalf of somebody else, but they work full time and can't call, and
sure.
I'm pissed off at them because they won't listen to me. And so but however, there's a situation now where I wanted to read you an impression. They've got, it's a 44-year-old female, chronic hip pain. And they finally went and had an MRI to see what it was. Now, she said the impression is probably the most important part here. So I'll just read it verbatim and maybe it'll make sense to you.
Okay.
L5 through S1 left central disc extrusion with severe left lateral recess stenosis. Yep. Correlate for left S1 radiculopathy. No, that's number one. And number two, no high grade canal or neural or minimal stenosis. What the hell that talks about? Now, what she explained it was a herniated disc in her lower back that's pinching on the nerves going into her tailbone.
Yeah, the L1, S5, that just tells us what position on the spine where it's happening.
Okay.
So, and then all the other stuff is that they see damage to the disc and the cartilage and misalignment and all that other stuff. So nothing really unusual in there. Pretty common stuff. Unfortunately,
what do you do about it?
The medical system only has a couple answers here. They will put you on NSAIDs or some sort of pain reliever, and they're all bad. We have no drugs that I would recommend anymore for pain. They're all pretty horrendous. Even over-the-counter stuff is bad, really, until it's bad enough, and then they'll want to operate. And my experience, my entire life, I remember this when I was a kid, people getting back surgeries. Nobody ever gets one. I don't know that I've ever seen anybody get one back surgery and then be better. People go for multiple back surgeries. And one of the worst stories I have is a neighbor of mine. And they both work in the medical field. His wife basically runs one of the local hospitals. She's in admin and has been for decades. And he runs hospital maintenance. So these two are in the medical field. He's had multiple back surgeries. up until just recently, and they recommended another one. He's now in a wheelchair. They paralyzed him during the back surgery, and it's permanent.
Oh my!
And that's not uncommon.
So what could she do to naturally then?
What do you think my first answer is going to be?
Exactly what I asked her. Well, I can't get off carbs. I'll kill somebody.
Then there's no help.
That's what she said.
She could attempt
that
to go to a chiropractor to at least fix the
well, now that okay,
issues.
let me interject something else here. That's exactly what I said too. I said, well, why did you try chiropractic then? And she snapped at me, said, I've been going to a chiropractor for a year and a half every other week now, and absolutely no relief whatsoever. So my suggestion was, I said, fine, you've got an MRI now, take that to the chiropractor, and maybe they'll know what to do.
And here's why I said at least try this, because sometimes keeping or getting the spine back into alignment, keeping it there will help. Sometimes it won't. And part of the problem is because of her diet, she will be inflamed all the time. That is the one of the problems with the standard American diet. It's very inflammatory, and inflammation creates pain. So if we can't heal the inflammation, then we can't fix the problem. And sometimes alignment helps. Sometimes it's too severe and it just doesn't. Now, it would help if she had the proper diet. Then we would get, because sometimes the inflammation itself stops you from being aligned properly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Makes sense.
Right. Inflammation is swelling. If one muscle on one side of your spine swells, it's going to pull your spine. And if those muscles are always inflamed and it's always working to pull your spine out of alignment, you can get all the adjustments you want. It's not going to matter.
But is there chiropractic adjustments, though, now knowing exactly where the problem is, that would be more beneficial? Otherwise, she's been going for general chiropractic, and maybe now that they have an actual MRI with actual results and actual descriptions, maybe they be more focused.
My opinion on that is, if she's going to a good chiropractor, they don't need that MRI. They can do a simple x-ray, and all chiropractors do. They do x-rays right in their own office. They read them right there. That's enough for them to know what's out of alignment. Now, they're not getting all that detail down into what's going on with the nerves and all that other stuff. We don't need that. That's not doing anybody any good to see that level of detail. Honestly, they do the MRI because they make money doing MRIs.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's. I mean, we can see spinal alignment with a simple X-ray. Chiropractors do it all the time. So if she's going to a good chiropractor, they're doing what they should be doing. My guess is it's the rampant inflammation that is stopping the alignments from working.
Well, I even offered to buy her at least 60 days worth of meat, so if she'd just go to carnivore, and she just keeps saying she just can't get off carbs or she'd kill somebody. So I don't know what to do with her. I really don't.
Jerry, honestly, with somebody with that strong of an objection to this kind of stuff, there's nothing you can do.
Well, it just breaks my heart.
I know.
You know, it really does. So
you understand how much you could improve this person's life, but they have to make that choice.
And maybe eventually they will, but I just don't know, Kevin. I've been preaching to her for a year now to try carnivore. I can't afford it. And then she comes up with I can't get off the carbs or I'll kill somebody. I mean, they're just excuse after excuse, and it just breaks my heart.
Well, it's pretty incredible that you offered to pay for her food for 2 months so the money wouldn't be an issue, and then she pivoted and found a new excuse. That's what tells me
exactly
that her mind's made up.
Yep.
And
I know her diet isn't as. Go ahead.
Here's part of the problem, that there is so much information, false information, but so much working against us. When we try to promote a carnivore diet and everybody else on the planet is pushing plant-based diets like they're going to save everybody, no, they're going to make everybody a whole lot more sick. But how do we overcome that message? One of my topics this morning, the Olympics took away a whole bunch of meat and eggs and replaced it with plant-based foods, and the athletes are pissed because they understand that they perform much, much better with the protein, and they missed the protein so much they're complaining about it. Countries were sending in their own food. Athletes are sneaking out of the village to go get a steak. This stuff is rampant. And here
It's
we
pretty
are
pervasive,
telling
but
people the only thing you should be eating is meat and eggs. And there's
animal
just
products.
too much propaganda working against us, and they have an awful lot of
Yeah.
money, and the big pharma owns the media.
And she could eat better. That's the sad part, because she does have her own meat.
Oh,
I mean, she got a little pasture out behind the house, and she got her own chickens with eggs. But it's just all that,
right.
it's just all that pasta and stuff that she just can't get over. I mean, it's sad. It really is. So
yeah, it is.
Yeah. Hey, off to another real quick topic, I guess. So you had Casey Means on, and she was very supportive of a function health, and that does this blood test. And you said maybe you might try it. I guess two questions. Number one, did you ever try it? And how in the hell do you ever get a hold of anybody at that goofy company? They don't have any phone number, and they never answer any chats or texts or nothing.
Well, I haven't tried, so I didn't even realize it was that hard to get a hold of them. I figured if they're running a clinic, it should be pretty easy.
Well, they got a nice website, but there's no way to call them, and there's a contact down there, and I've sent for about 2 weeks now. I've been messaging, and somebody will get back to me, and nobody ever does. So what the hell?
I thank you for bringing that up. I'll see what I can find out on that. I have not taken that blood test yet, mostly because I just did a ton of blood work with Dr. Wolfson. I did blood, urinalysis, all kinds of stuff. So I'm still working through that. So no, I haven't done that blood test yet, but it's still on my list.
Okay.
But
well, maybe you could find, if you can get a hold of her, maybe you can post a link or something, a special secret handshake link or something.
Well, if it's that hard to get a hold of them, I have to rethink if I even want to recommend them at all.
Well, they'll probably answer you because they know who you are, maybe. I don't know.
Right, but if that's the case, I still don't want to recommend them. If you're only responding because it's me, but you're not going to respond to the people I send to you, well, then I'm not sending anybody to you.
Right. Well, it's just been frustrating. I keep sending them, for the last 2 weeks now. So.
All
right, Kevin, that's enough for one day. I appreciate it.
Here's my hope, because I just like to be optimistic. Maybe she's so successful to this, they just can't keep up with the volume of work. I would love it if that were the reason.
And I don't understand that I don't know whether she's a full owner or just an investor in it. I guess I gathered that from what she said, that she was just an investor in the blood testing function health company.
Well, yeah,
because she's got her own practice.
There's some confusion, and I'm not even clear on all of this, because I just haven't done a lot of the background work on this. I did the work to know who she was. I read her book. I was impressed. I've been following her brother on X for a while, and I'm impressed with him. But there are multiple companies going on, and I'm not even clear about who's who yet. There's the blood testing company. I think they may both be investors in that. She's got a clinic. He's got some other business that he runs. I'm not really sure on how this all works, but I guess I should go figure that out.
Well, you're too busy replying to that other lady on X. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Starts with a D.
Yeah.
Enough said.
Yeah.
There's a long history with her. She's got me blocked everywhere else, but this so far.
So here's one of the, since you brought it up, here's one of the things I'll say. And I think I have this right. There's been a couple groups, and sometimes I get confused, but I was friends and I've known Ellen Voya for a long time. And Ellen started Women in Trucking, and she has built that organization to an incredible organization. She has testified in front of Congress. She has built fantastic partnerships, whether you agree with what she's doing or not. It's a big organization now, and it will do things you probably don't agree with. But she's built an incredible organization there. And what pissed me off way back when, and I believe it was this woman, started a group called The Real Women in Trucking. Come on.
Yep, that's her.
That's what I
That's
thought.
her.
And I've had run-ins with her over the years, and then after I ignore her. And I just had one recently. She went after Truck Parking Club.
Yep.
Yeah, that's her. Now she posts because
That's her. Yeah.
She's already, just so we know, because she has made it very, very clear that she's voting for Kamala. So we know this is political. So her post today was about how bad Trump's tax cut was because it took away per diem for company drivers. What she failed to mention, and this is why our tax code pisses me off, because anybody can use it for a purpose like this. You make that statement,
Yep.
and it's a correct statement. That's the problem. It's a partial truth. And then people only see the partial truth. So I made sure I put the rest of the story in there, that yes, he took away the per diem from company drivers. He was not targeting truck drivers. This wasn't a bill that took away per diem. It took away all itemized deductions for employees, which was an excellent thing to do. It simplified our tax code tremendously. He then doubled the standard deduction to make up for it, more than make up for it for most people. He allowed and left in there the rule that allows the company to pay per diem instead. Now, if you're getting paid per diem from your company and you get a double standard deduction, you are way better off than you used to be. But she doesn't mention any of that.
Oh no, you're wrong. Just read her replies. There was one guy that replied to her. You might know who that was, but
yeah, I haven't seen
anyway
the replies yet. But I know how she replies. She gets really nasty, really fast.
Yeah. Oh, very nasty. But yeah, there was one guy you might be talking to him that might have replied to her, so you can enjoy it later.
All right, thank you.
All right, Kevin, enough of that. So, yeah, right. Get on back to health.
Yeah, and speaking of X, real quick, we had our account hacked last night. Hacked hard, like they took over our account, and I was locked out of it completely. I was online writing a post when it happened. I'm writing a post, my screen disappears, and it's telling me to re-log in. That's never, ever happened. And I go to log in, and it's telling me my account doesn't even exist. Emails were changed. Phone numbers were changed. I went to my backup account that I use for testing. They had hacked that also. I couldn't get into either account. So I know it was targeted. It wasn't like a random attack where they hit a whole bunch of accounts at once. They targeted us. So I kind of panicked. Somebody with my X account could do an awful lot of damage. I called Aaron late last night, and he worked some magic. And by the time I got up this morning, we had our account back and multiple security measures on it now. So let's go to Wisconsin. John, welcome to the program.
Hey, Kevin. Well, I got two things. Let's go with the first one. Trump and Elon's discussion last week on X, or this week on X.
Yes.
Trump mentioned that he sped up the process to approve FDA drugs at the FDA. What are your thoughts on that?
I completely disagree with what he's doing on that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought.
Yeah, I think it's a mistake. Look, here's the thing. What he's promoting and what he has already, he managed to do some of this when he was in the office, in office the first time. He brought up, I don't even know if it's a bill, a law, a regulation, what it is, but it allows patients and doctors to choose an experimental drug that has not been through the process yet if they are terminal. So if they're terminal and there's a drug in the pipeline that isn't done that might help, the patient is allowed to choose that. Now, I like that on the surface. I like that we get more control as individuals. But because it's the pharmaceuticals and I know what a scam all of this stuff is, the last thing I want to do is make it easier for pharmaceutical companies to push out drugs that haven't been tested yet. But on the other hand, I could say, look, if you're terminal, it's not like I'm going to be able to help somebody terminal with the keto diet. Although there are some cases of terminal cancer diagnosis lately that doctors are helping with diet and some pretty simple drugs. So this is a complicated issue, but on the surface, I completely disagree with this, and I don't think it's something that he should be promoting as, you know, the next greatest thing. Now,
I agree with you on that.
I'm not surprised that he's doing it, and I'm not surprised that Elon agreed with it.
Yeah, they're both businessmen, so they're looking at the business of it. So.
Yeah, and you know, Elon has a company where he's developing implants in people's brains.
Wow.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah, he has a company called Neuralink, I think. He's done so much, it's hard to keep track of it all, but I believe he has a company called Neuralink, and they are testing brain implants for people with certain disabilities, and they're actually able to communicate with devices through these implanted. So if they're paralyzed, for example, and they can't use a keyboard, they're able to communicate with devices through these Neuralink implants in the brain. I'm not for that either.
No.
Yeah. So you know,
so
here's one of the things we have to remember. I doubt that there will ever be a political candidate that I agree with everything they say. It's just not going to happen. There's too many issues. There's too many thought processes on too many things. I'm still pissed off for Trump about the way he handled the vaccine, and he won't apologize for it. I get it. We didn't understand. I could cut him a break because early on, I said a lot of things about COVID that turned out to be wrong early on, and then we learned. So I could cut him a break if he would just admit that. But he doesn't. He still doubles down on how fast he was able to get the vaccine to market, and he won't admit what a real problem it is. So there's never going to be a candidate I agree with 100%. You kind of have to go with the people you agree with the most on the things that are most important to you. I'm not going to change Big Pharma anytime soon, no matter who's in office. So that's not much of an issue for me.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Now, here's something Trump could do that I think would be awesome. If he gets elected, and I still think that is a really, really big if. If he does, I think he should appoint Kennedy to some sort of a role overseeing the FDA and organizations like that. I think that would be a really good move. Now, while we're talking about Kennedy, there is a ton of things he wants to do that I don't agree with. But I do love what he's done on vaccines and what he's done pushing back against Big Pharma.
Yep. But the debate club ended, and we did didn't end, but the book review. I don't know if I'll be able to make it on Monday, and I was the one that recommended the book.
No, that's okay.
But went to reread it, and it sits there and makes me think of you as the man on the peak and the tribe as everybody else under it. Or the guy that they're talking about. But I see you as the guy on the peak.
Interesting. Now,
so I figured I would put that in there.
Yeah.
Get your brain going on that a little bit. But I see you as the man up on the peak, and the tribe and all of your followers as the main character.
Interesting.
So
all right.
That I just figured.
Yeah.
So have a good day.
All right. Thanks for that. Yes. What John is talking about, John has been trying to get me to read the book Peaks and Valleys for quite a while now. And I put it on my Kindle a long time ago when he recommended it, but my Kindle's kind of crowded and I've got a long list and I just haven't got to it. It's a really simple book and I want to read it. Just haven't got to it yet. So on Monday, I attempted my idea for a space, the Fight Club. Many of you may have heard the episode on the app. I couldn't get anybody to debate me, not at all. So this was my second week attempting the debate idea, and it doesn't look like it's going to work. So I still want to do a weekly space. And I want it to be different than all the stuff I do here on the air, because why just add another hour that's just like this? So I don't want it to be just call in and ask me questions. I wanted some sort of a theme, different. So the debate I thought was a good idea. It's not going to work. We're going to try a book club. I've tried this kind of in the past, and it's hard to get people to participate, but we'll see this time. I'm going to give it a good try. I would love to have an hour a week where we talked about books. And I'm not talking just about, self-help or business books, or we'll do some of that. But I want to do a lot of novels too. I think it's a lot more fun. We'll get the good books out there that you should be reading for business or health, and we'll review those. But I'd love to just talk about novels and what authors people like, and so we'll give that a try coming up this Monday. And our first book to review on the book club and talk about is going to be Peaks and Valleys. It's by Spencer Johnson, the same guy who wrote Who Moved My Cheese. I've been recommending that book for years. So now I'm really excited to go read this book. I might read it today. I could knock this one out easy this afternoon. Let's go to Virginia. Matt, welcome to the program.
Hey, Kevin. It's funny. I didn't have a question. I just wanted to see if you had heard of something, but evidently you have. Function Health. I guess I'll be the guinea pig because I've already got approved, and I'm going to go home and go ahead and get the credit card out and see how it's going to be.
What is this? I missed what is it?
Function Health.
I'm still not
Can
understanding.
you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, but I'm not understanding that word.
Function Health.
Functional health?
The
or
Function Health.
A specific company?
It's the blood work.
Oh, okay. The one we were just talking about,
yeah.
from Casey Means. Okay, got it.
Yeah, and yeah, it's funny that somebody already called about it.
Yeah.
That's what I called. I was going to get your opinion. I should have got your opinion before I joined, but I got excited, and because they're in beta, I guess they're testing it, and you got to apply and wait to be approved.
Okay.
And I got my approval yesterday.
Oh, good.
Mark Hyman is in on it. Pretty impressive list of doctors that are in on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. All right.
They will. Yeah, it's $500 a year, and you get well over 100 markers tested. They even test, I think it's APOE4 or the Alzheimer's gene.
Oh, right. Looking for the amyloid plaques.
Yeah. So I guess I'll be the guinea pig.
Well, excellent.
I never tried to get a hold of anybody. They got their website is very detailed. They got question and answer thing. There's probably 20 to 25 different, question and answer things. So any question you had should be on there. So I guess I'll let you know how it goes.
Okay. And yeah, please do. And I'm going to go do a little more digging on that, because I think there is some confusion that when we talk about Casey Means and Kelly Means, I think there's some multiple companies here that they're involved with. I think there's a clinic, the blood testing program. I think there's even another one that are brothers involved with. So I've got to go get some clarity on that, because I like what they're doing a lot. I want to stay involved with it.
Yeah, when you go on the Function Health website, it tells you all of the doctors that you'll be dealing with, and Mark Hyman is one of them. And then then there's another section of doctors that back it, and Casey Means is on the part where she's backing it.
Got it. Got it. All right. Well, thank you, and keep
So,
us informed.
yeah, I was just excited, and I didn't know if you've heard of it or not. So I'll be the guinea pig.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. We'll look forward to that. I also just realized that even though the live stream is working on the Tribe app, some people are hearing the audio. Everybody's hearing my audio. Some people aren't hearing the audio from the caller. Some are, though. It depends. Some people are saying I can hear the audio on my phone. Somebody else said I can't hear it on my phone. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on with that audio, but I will look into that after the show today and see if I can figure that out. Let's go to Texas. Tom, welcome.
Yeah, hey Kevin. Good morning. I don't normally disagree with you, but this Elon Musk Neuralink thing, what you're telling me, you implant in the brain, you can work it off your computer. Now I've been looking for this for a long time for the 080, and I don't see what your problem could possibly be. I just don't get it. But okay.
Yeah, let them, once we have those implants in, we might as well just let them, put our driver's license info and our credit card, and then people can just scan our retinas and no thanks.
Right?
No thanks.
Yeah. And why do I have a feeling that lady should have named that association Real Big Women in Trucking?
It just,
I just have the feeling that probably would have been more apropos.
I have a problem with stuff like this. I said the same thing when the truck company Nikola came out. Look, you can name your company anything you want, but we already had a company called Tesla. To name it Nikola just seemed really cheap to me. This was the same thing.
Right. It was a cheap
Ellen put a ton of blood, sweat, and tears and time. I know how hard she worked to build that organization, and it's pretty incredible what she's accomplished. And for them to piggyback off of that, but not only piggyback off of it, to mock it. Their name mocks her organization. And that was the point, because I remember the feud in the beginning. They disagreed with everything she was for, which is probably why I don't get along with them as well, because Ellen is a pretty, free market. She built this thing from the ground. She didn't, ask the government to fix everything. But now she is in a place where she has testified in front of Congress. She's built that much credibility. So when they kind of mocked her with that name, I knew what I was dealing with. And every time I run into this woman, usually I just try to avoid her, because she's just nasty. I mean, she starts throwing names and crazy accusations. And
is she a bigger girl?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
You haven't seen her? You haven't seen her?
I've never met her in real life. Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I've met a lot of people that I don't remember meeting, or I don't know who it was. I don't think I've met her in person, and I've just seen a profile picture, a headshot, so I have no idea. But
I have a feeling if you would have met her in person, you would have remembered. I just have a feeling that probably what would have happened.
She's just nasty. And
we don't need those people in our lives.
I know. So normally I just ignore her. I don't follow her. I don't pay attention to what she's doing, but occasionally something will show up on my feed. And this showed up on my feed, her complaining about Trump's tax cut, but she doesn't even understand it. I'm positive that she has no clue how all this works.
That's not how it works. Yeah, I know exactly, right? Yeah, I would have. I think if we would have had, because I'm a company driver, but they take out 10% for me as per diem anyway, and I'm not exactly sure how it all works either. But then again, I'm not making posts about it, complaining about it.
Yeah, exactly.
I just know I paid a lot of taxes, and I got to call your guy. I called your guy that you gave me, but he wants a bloody fortune. You know what I mean? It's like whether I could either pay the government or pay this guy, and I'd rather pay this guy than the government. I'd tell you that.
Well,
And then
here's the thing.
Casey,
When we talk
yeah,
about paying an accountant to do a tax return, and I used to do a lot of this, and people thought I was expensive too, only because they could go down to H&R Block and get it done for 1/4 of the cost. But 1/4 of the
right,
cost, from what I was talking about, was hundreds of dollars. I was saving people tens
yeah,
of thousands by doing their tax return properly.
right, yeah. It wouldn't have been that. It wouldn't have been that kind of difference for me. But I still need the. I'd still rather go to him. So anyway, I put that on the back burner. And then Casey Means. I tried to listen to her, but I had this. She has that vocal fry, and it was absolutely driving me insane.
That
You know,
makes me a little crazy too.
yeah, and I was like, oh my god, I know how she votes, but she might not even vote how she talks. But I don't know. I call because cholesterol. Now they did a big study. I don't know if you're aware of it. I'm pretty sure you are, about cholesterol, lower cholesterol, and then a higher incidence of dementia and
Yes.
Bidenism.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe not a thing, but you know what I mean. And so, but you never hear of that. You never hear them say, "Well, yeah, you have high cholesterol, so basically you'll be able to think until you're at least 80." They
Yeah.
just tell you it's going to clog your arteries and give you a heart attack. Oh, and JFK, yeah, the insurance fraud. That should be insurance fraud. What the doctors are doing for getting the blood sugar up before their tests.
It's absolutely insurance fraud. There is no doubt about that at all. I think there also has to be some sort of medical violation here as well.
Well, how could there not be?
Yeah, exactly. I
If
mean,
you're asking
this
somebody,
is
I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but for crying out loud,
this is criminal.
and like you say, nothing will happen to them.
I can promise you nothing will ever come of this. Nothing. This doesn't even come close to an issue, even though it is criminal and should be prosecuted. There's no way you're going to see a single case, not one.
Well, if you're in a two-party state and you can tape your doctor or have record them,
it won't matter.
Saying that,
won't matter.
If you take it. If you took it to the insurance companies, I bet they'd have a say about that.
No,
I bet they'd have say about that.
Won't matter. Insurance. Here's the problem with the way we've set up our system. The more medical care people seek, the more money insurance companies make. I used to believe the same thing. My God, the insurance companies should be our best ally against these medical issues because they have to be losing money because people get so sick. In fact, it's not that way at all. The insurance companies love our system. They make a lot of money off of our system.
Why do they fight you tooth and nail every time you have something that's on the cusp of being covered or not?
Because that's how they make a whole bunch of money. They're able to just keep raising premiums because the cost of healthcare keeps going up, and now people want $1,000 a month drugs to lose weight, but they can keep raising premiums, and then they keep denying whatever they want to deny. They make an awful lot of money from our system, and they've never done anything to try to improve it.
They probably deny what it isn't covered by the federal government.
I don't really understand the whole workings behind it, but I can look historically at they've never stepped up to try to fix any of these issues that you would think would benefit them if they could get this to stop. But they don't. They've never done anything about it. So I have to believe that they're not stupid. They know this stuff goes on and they do nothing about it. So I have to believe they benefit from it. Here's the best analogy I can give for this. Remember when I talked about the book and the movie Dope Sick?
Yeah.
A lot of people went, read it, watched the movie. They were blown away by how bad the collusion between the FDA and Big Pharma really was. That's how the Sackler family got away with this. It's how they killed so many people. There's another good documentary you can go watch about this called American Pain. And that story is about two brothers in Florida.
Oh, I saw it. Yeah.
Oh, you've seen
Yeah,
American
I did.
Pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Look at how bad that got before they did anything about it. It went on for over a decade. And just so people understand how outrageous this was, this little pain clinic run by two musclehead steroid freaks in Florida that came from a very rich family, by the way. They originally opened a clinic to sell steroids to all their bodybuilder friends. That was what they started. And in Florida at the time, you did not have to be a doctor to own a medical clinic. You just had to hire doctors. So they realized they were making actually quite a bit of money selling steroids illegally, but then they realized the opportunity in pain meds. And they went and basically hired a bunch of doctors that were not really doctors. I mean, they had a medical license, but they had horrible careers, lots of issues and problems. And they hired these guys and they just started writing prescriptions for pain pills. It got so popular, there was a flight out of Southern Ohio that they named that particular flight, and it was on one of the really dirt cheap airlines. They named it the Oxy Express because people were using that flight to fly down to Florida, and they would hire people to go down there. They'd carpool down with vans. I mean, this was insane. And at one point, it got so bad that they charged cash for the visit. And in Florida, if you were a clinic, you didn't have to send your people to a pharmacy. You could supply them the drugs right there on the spot. You could be the pharmacy as well, and they were.
Right there, yeah.
So they were selling prescription opioids and benzodiazepines, Xanax and things like that. So everybody that walked in got a giant prescription for really powerful opioids and a kicker of Xanax to go along with it. And it was all cash. You paid cash for the visit. You paid cash for the drugs. The staff was carrying contractor bags of cash out of the building at night, and they had so much cash around.
They didn't know where to keep it.
They were stuffing it in their attics of their multiple homes because they didn't know what to do with all this cash. That's how bad it got before they finally cracked down on them. So do we think for 1 second anybody's going to look at a doctor who says, hey, drink a Coke and a soda, or drink a soda and a donut? Nobody's going to pay attention to this.
No, that's very, 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 very true. That was. I remember they didn't know where to put their money, and they were bringing them in on van loads, like the 16-passenger Ford vans.
Yes.
Just picking up homeless people and stuff.
There were cases, you saw this. There were several cases, but the one that really sticks out to me, there's videos of people shooting up in the parking lot. I mean, it was a total disaster. And the one case was there were 4 or 5 people in a car that had carpooled there. They got all their drugs. They got high in the parking lot. A couple miles down the street, they went around a set of railroad barriers and got hit by a train and killed them all.
Killed all of them. Wow, that's Darwin's right there. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Before I forget, so yesterday I'm driving through Colorado out there in they're raising whatever they were raising, and they were crop dusted, and I had my windows down. It was sort of a nice day. Before I got the quarter-size hail on me leaving there, but I got crop dusted. You know what I mean? And I had my windows down, and it lasted for probably a minute and a half. I was trying to hold my breath, but I mean, it was like bad, Yeah. And I'm sure it was the what's the stuff they spray on there for Dexamethasone?
Glyphosate. Roundup.
Glyphosate. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was glyphosate, because when I was driving through not too awful long ago in Idaho, and the watering system was like a blue color, and I could smell that, and so it was the same smell that I just got crop dusted with.
So
and
it's hard to
you got to wonder.
say, because they could spray. Look, I don't know about the details of all this stuff, but I know a lot about what's going on. It could be glyphosate, I guess. They could certainly spray that from aerial. I don't see why they couldn't. I do know they spray a lot of insecticides through that, which is even worse to me. I get it. Roundup is designed to kill plants, but it's really not good for humans either. But now all the chemicals they use to kill bugs, those are probably really bad for us. But that a lot of times
whatever.
that's what
I'm not saying it was glyphosate, but yeah, you could tell that every breath it would tingle your throat. But I was thinking, what about the people that are living right underneath? I mean, they're not doing it once a year. You know what I mean? They're probably doing it once a week. I can't imagine what the cancer rates are there.
I don't want to use the word traditional farming because it's not traditional at all. Conventional farming, I guess, today, or actually the phrase I like is chemical farming. Because that's really what we do today in non-organic. You might as well just call it chemical farming. It's chemical fertilizers, chemical pesticides, chemical herbicides, chemical fungicides. So because we've destroyed the soil with the chemical farming to begin with, those plants have no natural defenses against anything anymore. And we spray them with multiple chemicals over and over and over.
I know. I've looked into that. Hey, that's absolutely insane what we've done to our soil.
You want to know one of the best uses I think I've seen of AI so far?
No.
There's an incredible.
Oh yeah, where it zaps. Yeah. Where it zaps the weeds. Yeah. Oh, isn't that crazy?
They have this. You tow it behind the tractor through the fields, and it's got cameras and AI, and it's really accurate. I've seen the testing of it, how it works. I'm all for this. Rather than spraying a bunch of glyphosate to keep weeds down, because that's what glyphosate is. It's an herbicide. This device with cameras and lasers sees these tiny little weeds and zaps them with a laser. And it's really impressive.
Differentiates the difference between the weed and the plant that they're growing. Yeah, that was absolutely insane.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
But yeah, I just but I mean they're not going to those machines got to cost a ton of money, and they're not going to be able to do that except for anywhere here, probably in the United States, maybe a little bit in New Zealand or something like that, or Brazil, maybe. I don't know. Hey, so a couple more real quick. So DD15 that they rebuilt in this truck here, when should I do the first oil change?
Did you say it was new or rebuilt? I was reading something right when you said that.
It was rebuilt. Rebuilt. They put a reman. It was through that rod.
Yeah,
so probably just
on a new truck anymore. You just do the first oil change when it's recommended. I don't see any reason to do an early one on a new engine anymore. But on a rebuild, we like to do them really fast. Like Bruce is down to the point now, if they do an in-frame, they run a truck on a test run and come back and change the oil, I believe. I would say sometime within the first 5,000 miles.
Okay, that's what I was thinking too. So I'm interested. Not my truck's Penske, so I'm interested to see when they're going to do it. And then one more thought. Okay, so we have vitamin water out there that rapper 50 Cent I think owned it, and he sold it to Coca-Cola or somebody for $1 zillion. But instead of vitamin water, which we probably have sugar and all that shit in there too anyway, but my idea is mineral water. So what kind of minerals would you say that the average person's probably deficient in? Like, what would your top 3 or 5 be?
I won't even go to 5 because most of us aren't. I mean, a lot of us might be deficient in trace minerals. I'm not so sure that there's much evidence that it's that big of a deal anyway, because a lot of the way we measure this stuff is all wrong. The big 2 really, and it's why Light Balance is one of our best-selling products, is magnesium and potassium.
Magnesium. Magnesium and potassium, you think, is probably the two biggest minerals we're deficient in?
Those are the two we were deficient or out of balance. It's really, that's one of those.
Okay.
A lot of our nutrients have to be in balance with other nutrients. Copper's this way.
Copper.
Magnesium is really this way. There's lots of things where you have to be careful. Omega-6 and omega-3, that's always a balance. You don't want to be overloaded on either one. So it's not always a deficiency. Sometimes it's a balance.
Is omega-6 is a mineral?
No, I was just talking about nutrients in general.
Nutrients in general, right?
Yeah,
right,
so
right.
omega-6 fatty acid and omega-3 fatty acid, we want a balance. The problem is we're so out of balance in the omega-6 world. You know, we started throwing omega-3 supplements at everybody, and I realized it wasn't doing any good. We weren't getting any results from that at all. We had some of the best supplements on the market, and they just weren't working. And the trick here is you don't need a supplement for this. You lower your omega-6 enough, and then you will get enough omega-3 from grass-fed beef and a little bit of seafood, and you don't really need to supplement. But the trick is not to try to get enough omega-3 because it almost never works. The better approach is to eliminate as many of the omega-6 as you can.
Right. I feel you there. Have you ever, when you go out to your homestead permanently, I saw a video on a guy that was talking to a cattle farmer,
But before we
he
get into
was
that,
doing pigs. Yeah.
But before we get into that, because this always just, I laugh at this every day. You know, I do the live stream and my video is streaming on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I mean, it's X, it's all over the place, which we love. And people almost every week, I get at least one person who says, "Oh my God, I had no idea you were still on the air."
Isn't that wonderful? I know. That's wonderful, though.
But
you know
I always love. I absolutely love it.
Now you got them back.
Yeah, I know they're back, and I always say, "Welcome back to the tribe." And then I got one the other day. I think it was just this week or late last week. Somebody I served in the military with found me on the live stream and sent me a message. I thought that was pretty cool too. My God, that was 40 years ago.
Right? Isn't that just
but here's why I bring this up.
Does have its place.
There's a guy on Facebook, and I'm going to name him Edward Moore. I have no idea who this guy is. I don't know if I've ever had some sort of run-in with him in the past. I know nothing about him other than every day he's watching my video, obviously, every day, and he posts, and here's his post every morning. "Hey, Kevin, F you." That's his post every day.
I got a guy to do that too. So, but
he added to it today. His second post was, "You're a asshole." And
nice.
I love it when people insult me and their English is worse than a third grade immigrant. Your should be
you read that
R-E.
You read that verbatim, right?
Yeah, you can't call somebody a asshole. It's an asshole. Sorry, Edward.
Go
back to school. Learn some English.
Right?
But he does it every day.
Did you,
how twisted
did you
is somebody?
Did you back to him?
No, I never respond to him, ever. In fact, this is the first time I've ever mentioned it on the air.
Oh no, I got to look him up because then I'll correct his English when I have my little half-hour break here pretty quick.
So the way my chat thing works is I have a central chat on my screen. If somebody's watching on YouTube and types in the chat, I see it. If somebody types on Facebook, I see it. I think I might see Instagram. I don't see X on this one.
You don't see X? Okay, because I was commenting on the dog behind you, how well behaved it was. The dog on the chair. I was commenting on how well behaved it was the other day. You didn't reply.
It's a fox, and he's on the ground today.
I know.
Yeah,
it was a joke.
I know. He is a very well-behaved dog, though. So I just have to wonder to myself, what kind of a life do you have that you subject yourself to somebody you obviously hate and watch them day after day and make that comment?
Just isn't it beyond your just comprehension,
I
just
can't
like
comprehend it at
a
all.
Delaware lawyer,
Yeah.
Chinese guy.
Chris from
That's
Delaware.
just
Same
hilarious.
thing. What goes
Yeah,
wrong
Chris
in
from Delaware.
somebody's brain?
No, that's it's the liberal. See, when you talked about meeting them halfway, that's the liberal brain at work right there, brother. So
Unbelievable.
you know what I mean? Yeah, they're lunatics. They're lunatics. That's all there is to it.
I just love the absolutely butchered English language.
Oh, I
Like,
you know, whenever I make an X post or even a text, I don't use, you know, I try to use proper grammar, just probably for, you know, so people can read it, number one.
Look,
and then you know,
I've put up some pretty big typos on post because I get in a hurry sometimes. I'm really pretty good at English because I read so much. So spelling comes really easy to me. I'm pretty decent with grammar and punctuation, and but this sentence, "you're a asshole," and asshole, he separated it into two words. I mean, with 4 words in the sentence, I can find 5 grammatical mistakes.
How do you have 4 grammatical errors in a 5-word sentence?
I know.
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
that's like I do right.
Yeah.
You know, that's and without trying, you know what I mean? That would be
Exactly.
like that's like a puzzle right there.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No,
when that's
no
what
wonder
I wrote
why.
his name
You know,
down. I wrote his name down.
I think I might have just
And-
answered my own question. I do understand why his brain is so screwed up. Life has to
'cause
be
he's
miserable
very
for
bad.
somebody that ignorant.
Yeah. You know what? What's the saying? Life's hard. It's really hard when you're stupid.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, right. So there's him.
Uh,
Pigs, man, pigs.
Pigs.
So when you do go out to the homestead, have you thought about raising pigs and just let them run around there? I wonder if they'll be big enough where they don't get messed with. You know what I mean? I don't think a coyote could eat a pig.
I haven't really thought about it. One of the reasons and I don't know enough about this stuff. I'd have to do some research, but I do know in a lot of places, and I lived in one, Florida, in Texas. I've been around. Feral pigs become a problem. And I don't. I mean, there seems like there's a pretty easy solution. Let people shoot them and hunt them all you want, and we could feed a bunch of people with them. I actually love wild boar meat. It's one of my favorites when I can find it. And I know
especially if it's Mershon.
Yeah, I know. So I haven't really thought about it yet. It's not out of the question. I do know that once we're living over there full time, and I don't know when that's going to be. I already have the hives, so I'm going to have bees. We have the chicken coop and we're all set up. So I'll have chickens again when we can have a couple of big farm dogs out there and protect them from predators. And I'll be out there full time. And I want goats, milking goats. I haven't really thought beyond that yet. I mean, technically, I have enough room for a pig or 2 and a cow.
You can get a donkey.
Yeah.
Or a mule.
And you know, then there's always, you know, some of
the
the other kind of more exotic stuff. Emu. I've eaten emus and llama and some of those things, and alpaca.
Yeah,
they're a little easier to raise.
You're gonna have I don't know, man. I think you're going to run into the same problem that a lot of people do, though, is that you're going to name the alpaca.
Oh,
then, you know what I mean?
I've already said that. And that's one of the reasons why I probably won't raise pigs or cows or rabbits. I've thought about meat rabbits. The problem with that is if I've raised the animal, I really have a hard time killing them and eating them. I have no problem hunting. I know that my food comes from an animal that somebody killed. I get all that. And I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
but I realized
I just don't want to be the dude doing it. Yeah, you're going to end up with a petting zoo, not a farm.
Not only would I not be the one doing it, but I couldn't send it to somebody else to do it either.
No, right? At least you'd be able to do it if you're gonna.
Yeah, right.
If you're gonna kill it,
exactly.
At least
if I'm gonna eat it, then I better be able to kill it myself. But I realized with the chickens of all things, within a week of having those chickens, I'm like, oh, there's no way I'd ever eat one of these things. They became pets to me.
They're all different personalities.
I know. It's just the way I'm wired. I mean, I
know, right?
get attached to animals.
See, so total carnivore, and then but doesn't want to kill it. And I'm the same way. I'm like, oh well, that's just that. Yeah, I don't know how you get over it. I don't know.
I thought about. Look, if you raise a cow, look at all that beef you're going to have. You have total control over it. It's completely natural. No, I have a much better solution to that. And this doesn't bother me at all. Even far healthier than any beef I could ever raise.
From your neighbor.
No, I could shoot an elk from my bed some mornings. I wouldn't even have to get out of bed.
Right.
I can see right out into the field.
Right.
There's a whole bunch of them just laying out there in my yard. So why would I go through the trouble of raising a cow when I can just shoot an elk?
Oh, that's true. And can you shoot an elk on your property? Or, I mean, you have to probably get a license for sure, right? Or can you, if it's in your garden, can you shoot it?
This is just between you and I, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard me talk about when somebody asked me about the concealed carry laws in a truck or when you travel?
Yeah.
What's my answer?
That's why it's called concealed.
My answer is no, I don't know what the rules are because I don't care what the rules are because I'm not going to follow them. I've already made up my mind.
No.
I'm not going to follow those rules. This would probably be another one of those. Hunting is clearly legal in this area. It's legal in the National Forest. There's a lot of hunting out there. I'm not sure whether it's legal for me to shoot one out of my bed or not on my own property, but I don't care. If I decide to do it, I'm just going to do it.
No, I know, right?
Yeah. But that's just between you and I.
It is what it is. Yeah, absolutely. Between you and I.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds pretty good. And you can still get a cow, but you just don't, you know what I mean?
Well, if I got a cow, I would.
From what I understand. And then
I guess I could get an A2 dairy cow, but that's what I want the goats for. And I really, really prefer goat's milk. So that's why I would have some dairy goats.
Oh, gross.
Oh, I love goat's milk.
Okay.
And I love goat's milk cheese.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. I would agree with you about the goat's milk being better than A2, but then that would make both of us wrong.
Why is that? Goat's milk is mostly A2.
Because then we both. Maybe I haven't drank goat's milk in a long time. You know what? Okay. I'm gonna take that back. I'm gonna try some goat's milk.
Oh yeah, goat's milk is.
But
A2.
it had a funny smell.
Oh, it does. It's much stronger tasting. It is kind of a gamey smell and taste. But I like those things. I like stronger tasting stuff, so that doesn't bother me. That's why I like it. And I never realized I've talked about the digestive issues I had most of my life, and dairy exacerbated it. Always made it worse. Except goat's milk never did. And I didn't understand why. It's why I started drinking it, though, and then I grew to like it. And, dairy goats are a little easier to handle than dairy cows.
You think?
Well, you're right. I think. I have no idea. It just seems like they're a lot smaller. They don't take up as much space. That seems easier.
Well, it probably won't hurt as much when you get stepped on. But if that goat doesn't want to get milked, guess what? You're going to have a hell of a time. You're going to have a hell of a time. And there's nothing prettier, nothing cuter than baby goats jumping around on the hay bales and shit like that. They're clowns, man. They're clowns.
Exactly. That is pure entertainment there. Maybe milking the goats will be Lisa's job.
Yeah, milking. That's got to be a challenge. You're gonna have to make a video of that because
there you go.
Talk about frustration.
All right. Hey,
all
Tom,
right, man.
I just looked and I am slammed with calls, so I'm going to start knocking out some of these calls. Let's go to Kansas. Paul, welcome.
Hi, I wanted to talk on that stenosis.
Okay. What about it?
I had that in February. I had bad stenosis. I could hardly walk. Couldn't find any positions comfortable to sleep in. And doctor sent me to physical therapy. The only thing that helped there, they done stretches and stuff, but was the traction.
Yeah.
Gave me a little relief.
Yep.
But there's an old boy on YouTube, El Paso Manual Therapy, and what it is, it's an imbalance of your three muscles, your abs, your glutes, and your back muscles are not holding that core in position. And I was able to fix mine totally just sitting here and exercising my glutes, my abs.
Yeah. The thing that caught on for a while that was really helping a lot of people, I don't hear much about it anymore, was Pilates, actually. Pilates, that was the whole point of Pilates, was to build the core muscles. So your obliques, your abdominals, your lower back, and that gets weak because we sit so much. So that's absolutely a good practice. You know, what happens in a case like we have here, the spine's out of alignment because all of those muscles have gotten weak. When all those core muscles are strong, it holds the spine in alignment. When they get weak and the spine gets out of alignment, then it causes damage to the discs. The damage creates inflammation and pain. And unless we can do two things, which is, there's three things we have to do to fix this. We have to align the spine. That's where the chiropractor comes in. In your case, it was physical therapy, which can do the same thing, just takes a little longer. We have to get rid of the inflammation, which is all diet. And if you don't change your diet, you're going to struggle with this for some people. And then we have to strengthen those muscles to hold that spine in alignment once we get it realigned again. So absolutely, what you're describing is exactly what should happen. Now, how severe is the damage? You know, there's a lot of other factors here.
Right. Well, and I went to a chiropractor too, also on the side. Yeah. And he didn't help me much at all. As a matter of fact, I made him stay away from certain areas because he was making it worse.
Well, if I had a chiropractor making something worse, I wouldn't tell him to stay away from certain areas. I would just stay away from him.
Right. And then, like my omega-3s and everything was really good. But like I say, I fixed it just sitting here behind the wheel, flexing my glutes and my abs.
Excellent.
Building them up
makes sense
till it held itself.
Yep.
And the other thing I started doing to help, I thought helped, was the L-Rutherford yogurt to help me build muscles faster.
Speaking of which, I had an announcement this morning I was supposed to make, so thank you for reminding me. We have launched a functional yogurt kit now. This is a complete kit. When you order this in the store, you get all of the probiotic cultures, L-Rutherford, B. coagulans, Helveticus, longum, grassery. You get all of the starter cultures, and you get very detailed, easy to follow instructions on how to make all the different yogurts. It's all in one place in one kit. You can order it in the store now.
Yeah, that's all I had on that. I wanted him to hear that. Maybe we can find some help.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate it. Let's go to Missouri. Brandon, welcome.
Hey, Kevin. How's it going, man?
Good. What can I help you with today?
All right. So about a year ago, as in October last year, I had a lump underneath my arm, right on my rib cage. And I went and had it checked out. They did a ultrasound on it, and they was like, yeah, that's a lipoma, which is a fatty tissue.
Right.
And the doctor's like, you don't have to do nothing about it if you don't want to. He said, I can take it out right here in the office if you want me to.
No, don't.
No big deal. I was like, well, I didn't do it.
Yeah, good.
So about 2 months ago, it swelled up on me on the weekend, got about the size of an egg.
Ooh.
So I called him back up and said, hey, this thing swole up on me. He's like, just come in, I'll take it out. He said it just got irritated. So he cuts it out. Well, it wasn't lipoma. He thought it was an cyst because it's full of blood. And he's like, I'll send this off to a lab and see what they say. I came back with melanoma, and it was an lipnoid. So I went to an oncologist. We did a PET scan, all my blood work, and nothing's coming back. Like, everything's negative. All my blood work is normal. The PET scan says no abnormals from head to toe. Everything's So this morning I went and did a MRI on the brain, and I haven't gotten the results back. He's talking about taking another lymph out of my armpit, and he's saying that was too low. If you would have had cancer in that one, you should have them up further higher, up in the armpit. He's like, so I'd like to have it one taken out and tested.
So this is a tough one. I mean, I'm not giving you medical advice at all here. I could just tell you how I would handle this, just based on everything I know about cancer. And I'm not trying to diagnose your cancer or anything like that. I'm just telling you what I would do if I were in your situation. There's been some pretty exciting stuff happening in the last year that I've been aware of. There are several doctors now who are using a couple very simple anti-parasitic drugs along the lines of ivermectin. Fenbendazole is one and menbendazole is another. And I am seeing incredible stories of people with advanced cancers that nothing has worked on being cured with these things. Diet can certainly help. If you're not eating a really clean diet, you should. It's really critical that you do that. But I would seek out, and I don't have a lot of information on this yet. I haven't done a deep dive into it. I've got it on my list. But if you wanted some help with this, I could probably guide you through the coaching program. Not with any very specific protocols, but I'll go do the research and dig a little deeper and find some of these doctors that are doing that and kind of guide you that way. I would honestly be terrified of having cancer and going through the conventional medical system we have.
Okay.
So I can't tell you whether it makes sense to get this second biopsy or not. I mean, I just don't know, and I'm not going to pretend to know, but I do know that I'm seeing an awful lot of exciting stuff with some of these doctors. And if it were me, I would be doing the research on that and figuring it out pretty quick.
Yeah, I'm interested because, see, I eat clean. We raise our own, most of everything, like meat-wise, pigs, chickens. We do buy beef from somebody else, but it's local.
Good.
So, I mean, I'm not saying I'm perfect on it. I do eat some sugar every now and then, and do eat some bread every now and then.
Nobody is, but if our focus is on eating good, clean animal products for most of our diet, we're going to be in pretty good shape, and your outcomes, no matter what you get, whether it's cancer or whatever, are always going to be better when your diet is good. So that's always the first step, and you've got that. Like I said, the name of the two drugs, fenbendazole and menbendazole, and they sound just like you spell them. If you look that up, you should come across these doctors that are using it. If you want somebody to help with the research and kind of guide you, I could do that in the coaching program.
Okay. Is it PH or FH? Fenbendazole.
It's an F. Fenbendazole. Just like it said, just sound it out, but it does start with an F.
Okay. I got it.
And then
it's
almost spelled identical, I think, with an M, I think, menbendazole. And that's a new one. I was seeing a bunch of stuff about the fenbendazole, and now I'm seeing both. And there are some doctors that are also using ivermectin itself. And all three of them are the same class of drugs. They're antiparasitics, which is really odd. Why are antiparasitics helping us with cancer? I'm not sure of the mechanism. That's all the research I still need to do.
Yeah. See, and I had another lady reach out to me. She's actually was a state representative in Kansas, and she's like, there's a company called For Life, and they make pills out of colostrum from, I guess, cattle and goats and stuff. And she said that's supposed to help. But I think it's just I'm not saying it's a pyramid scheme, but it's like a.
Oh, is it a multi-level marketing
deal? Yeah.
Yeah. See, multi-level marketing turns me off immediately. And I won't even look at a product, a procedure, nothing other than to say, okay, I'll look at what they're doing and I'll go do my own research and I'll find my own products. I hate the whole multi-level marketing thing, because what happens in multi-level marketing is you get a lot of people who then hold themselves out as some sort of an expert because they bought into this company's multi-level marketing deal and they know next to nothing. The one thing I dealt with over and over in this industry was oh shoot, what's the oil that sells multi-level marketing? Oh, it's right on the tip of my tongue.
Oh, Amazon. I mean, Amazon.
AMSoil. Right. And look, I like their oil. Their oil's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But it made me insane how hard some of these distributors would try to sell me. And they would come to me because if they could partner with me and I was promoting their oil, that would be big for them. You know, everybody, you know, they have so many distributors of AMSoil. It's insane. And 99% of the people I've met that sell AMSoil know nothing about oil. They know nothing about oil analysis. That's why I hate those systems.
Right. Okay. I'll check out this stuff, and I'm willing to do that coaching if you want to do it.
Yeah. In fact, I'll put you back in the queue right now. You don't have to sign up right now or anything, but Brittany can help you, and we have a coaching call tomorrow if you want to be on that one. So I'll put you back in the queue. No pressure. If you want to do it now, you can. If you don't, I'll be here whenever. If you want to go do some of your own research, please do. Let's. I almost picked up the same call again. There we go. Let's go to Arizona. Jeremy, welcome.
Hey, Kevin. Thanks for being here. I haven't been able to listen in about a week or so, but I did hear your first Fight Club recording. That's pretty. I thought it was going to be pretty cool, but you said you might not do it anymore.
Well, that first one was a couple of weeks ago, and then I went on vacation, so I missed several weeks of it. And the first one went pretty well. I got somebody to debate me. We followed the rules. We didn't scream at each other. We didn't call each other names. I think it went really well, and I was pretty encouraged by it. And then we took the break because I was on vacation. But then I came back. I gave everybody a week's notice. I said, look, since I missed some days, I'm going to do 2 debates. One on any topic you want and one on a health topic. And I posted over and over and over, and I could not get a single challenger on either topic. Then I held the space and I thought, okay, I'll get somebody on the space to step up and challenge me. And nobody would. I ended up doing almost a 2-hour space, maybe even a little longer, just talking about general stuff. And I don't want to do that. I already do that enough on the air. I take all kinds of calls, questions. I don't want the space to be the same thing. So it's just like, remember when I tried the show The Pit, Politics and Trucking, and I couldn't get anybody to disagree with me. And it was a boring show if we all just sit around and agree with each other all day. So that whole format just doesn't seem to work. So instead, I'm going to try a book club.
Okay, that sounds good too. I one last idea maybe for Fight Club was or your debate on X, right? On
Correct.
X.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe whoever has the topic to be debated, that person or you has to take the other side that they are, that they're for. They actually have to take
we could do that. I don't really want to do that. I understand how to debate, strategy, all that stuff. So, and I do want to help other people understand it, but I'm not interested in taking the other side of something just to prove that I can debate. And I don't think
I was going to do it just to call in.
Yeah. If I have to think about this, I wanted to do this every Monday. If I have to struggle this hard to get one person to step up and debate and I got 0, I don't want to have to struggle like this every week.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the club. Yeah, we definitely learn a lot, and I get some good recommendations. I have, you know, Cheryl Atkinson. Kind of spelled like Jerry.
Yeah. No, I'm very familiar with her. I've been following her for a long time. Jeremy? Uh-oh. Oh, I think you might be back. Try again.
Okay. Yeah, Cheryl Atkinson.
Yes, Atkinson. Yeah, I think she spells it just like Jerry. I've been following her for a long time.
Yeah, she's going to have a book come out called Follow the Science.
Oh, boy. That'll be good.
Right. I know more of that stuff, but I didn't know if I was going to put it on my bookmark,
you know what's interesting about her? You know where I first found her? Of all places. So I'm in Oregon. We know what Oregon politics are like. And I watch a local news channel here once in a while. And I'm always shocked at how balanced they are. For a station out of Portland, Oregon, they're not far left. It's actually a pretty decent newscast where they stay, kind of in the middle and just report the news like they should. Cheryl Atkinson is pretty far right in most of her beliefs. And I actually found her on my local newscast. They do her segments all the time. And now I follow her on X as well.
Yeah, I looked at her background. I said something about being a news anchor. Yeah, but I thought I read a book, but I guess I didn't. But
she may have.
It seems like an interesting book that's going to come out.
I'm not sure, but I'm going to go look. And if she's got a book coming out called Follow the Science, I'm absolutely going to read that one. But yeah, she's an independent journalist. But our local news station actually picks up her pieces quite often.
Okay, yeah, it sounds really good. Like going deep into even like some political figures too.
Yeah, she's pretty controversial.
Goes deep, but yeah. So, and so the book club. What you said you're gonna. We're supposed to read that book then, if we're gonna
for Monday
talk about it.
Yeah, everybody that
for Monday. Okay.
You don't have to. You could come in and wait and hear what the book's about if you want. But the more people that read it beforehand, the better the discussion about the book will be. I'll give a quick review from my point of view, but I'd love to have. I mean, the whole point is not just for me to be talking the whole time. It's to get more people talking about it. So the more people that read the book ahead of time, and again, if you didn't hear, for everybody, the book is called Peaks and Valleys by Spencer Johnson, and he's the same author that wrote Who Moved My Cheese.
Okay. All right. I'll check that out. So one last thing on fermenting the peppers.
Yes.
And I know I've been doing it in honey, and using the honey, and then the peppers. What do you do anything? Have you done anything with the fermented peppers in the honey? Do you do anything with them?
I do a lot of things with them. Here's one of my favorites. So before I ferment mine, I chop them. So they're already chopped fairly small before I ferment them. Then when I take them out of the honey and drain them, now I have these chopped kind of honey-coated peppers there. Take those peppers just the way they are and mix them into goat cheese.
Okay. Yeah.
So
okay.
good.
Okay.
Yeah, it is that's one of my favorites, and it's really simple. You just take the peppers right out of the honey, mix them into the goat cheese, and then use the goat cheese however you want. You can just eat it with a spoon. It's so good. The other thing I do, if you take those peppers, you can make some really interesting hot sauces with those.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering if you as well. Yeah,
Yeah,
do
you can make some hot sauces with just unique flavors that you've never tasted anywhere else. I have one.
Okay, so
I have one going right now. Do you like sriracha?
Yeah, yeah.
So there's some
Yeah,
commercial
kind of I like it more sweet.
Well, sriracha is sweet because when you make sriracha, you actually put sugar in it. Sriracha hot sauce actually has quite a bit of sugar in it. Not enough to worry about because you don't put a whole lot of sriracha on anything, but there is sugar put into it, and that's kind of two things give it its unique taste. Sriracha is a fermented hot sauce, and then it's got sugar in it, and usually both white sugar and brown sugar. So what I did this time, I just made a batch of sriracha myself, and it's fermenting now, but I added some of the honey peppers instead of the sugar. So I didn't put any sugar in my sriracha.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I put the honey soaked peppers in there instead. And I don't know what it's going to taste like because
that's what I was thinking.
You need to ferment after you make the sauce itself and blend it all up, and you put some garlic in there and some garlic powder. You can find sriracha recipes all over, but I just substituted the honey peppers for the sugars, and you ferment it for about a week.
Did you blend them first?
Yeah, I blend everything, so it looks like sriracha
already.
Oh,
you blend everything.
Totally blended together.
Okay, so
and then you put it in a jar.
And then you add the brine?
No, I don't add the brine. I add the peppers themselves.
Okay. Well, let's say you do your hot sauce with just regular brine. You know, I mean, I'm sorry. When you ferment peppers with your brine, let's say like Tabasco sauce, right?
Right.
Do you like make your own, like essentially making your own Tabasco, fermenting peppers in a brine, right?
Correct. Yeah. In that case, I would use some of the brine to get the consistency I want, but in almost all hot sauce recipes, you finish them with vinegar.
Finish them with vinegar?
Yeah, which is the case with sriracha.
Okay.
So you put all the ingredients for sriracha into a blender or a food processor. You process it down to a sauce. You ferment that sauce for about a week. Then you take the sriracha and you put it on a low boil, actually just a low simmer, and add white vinegar and finish it and then bottle it. And then that's your sauce, and it'll stay forever in the refrigerator. And the vinegar gives it the right balance and the right acidity and the right flavor. But that's the process. You put all the ingredients. The only difference, let me explain it. So
how is it fermenting after you blend it? Like, well, you blend it, put it on the counter, but how is it fermenting?
What's fermenting?
A brine? You got the brine water?
No. No, look, if all you do is take let me go through the whole process. Sriracha is made from red jalapenos. Red jalapenos are exactly the same as green jalapenos. It's just the red is actually a ripe pepper. When we pick a green pepper, it's unripe. If we let it ripen, a jalapeno will turn red. So you use red jalapenos to make sriracha. That's traditional. So I start my hot sauce by putting. Wait, you do what?
I missed it.
Here's how I start the sauce. You take the red jalapenos. That's your main ingredient. Then you add your garlic powder. I think, and then it would normally be some white sugar and some brown sugar. And the brown sugar, and I put my fermented honey peppers in there instead. Then you blend all of that down to a sauce. Now it looks like sriracha at this point, but anything will ferment. I don't need a brine. This sauce, if I leave it out on the counter, is going to ferment. It has everything it needs to ferment. It will create its own. Yeah. You don't have to have a brine.
So even if it didn't have your fermented hot pepper, the one out of the honey, it would still ferment?
Oh, absolutely. If you just follow a traditional sriracha recipe and I just lost I just lost my connection. Hold on. I have no idea what
Ready to
happened.
connect. Click connect to show now. You are connected as the host. Welcome, host. You are now in the host room and can manage your callers from the Call-in Studio web interface. Audio recording is on.
Jeremy, you still there?
Oh, yeah, I am.
I lost my whole connection. I had to reconnect. Yeah, if you
Oh,
just
okay.
followed a traditional recipe from start to finish, you would put in the brown sugar and the white sugar, and you would put it on the counter, and it would ferment. Have you
Okay.
ever
So,
heard me talk about my
wow.
fermented salsa?
I mean, I know the process of, you just,
It's
I
the
guess,
same thing.
you put salt over the tomatoes.
Right. Right. Well, no, not even over the tomatoes. I make all the salsa just like I normally would. I chop up tomatoes and
Okay.
onions and jalapenos and cilantro, and I make a salsa, and then I just add a little bit more salt to it, so it's a little on the salty side, and then you just leave it out on the counter and it ferments. It's the same thing here. We never made a brine. We just
Oh,
yeah, same thing. So now
it'll just ferment.
yeah.
Okay.
So the only change I made was I replaced the white sugar and the brown sugar with my honey peppers instead.
Yeah.
So now it'll sit on
Yeah.
the
Okay.
counter for
All
a
right.
week fermenting. Then I'll put it on the stovetop, and you'll see all this because this is how you make traditional sriracha. So then you bring it up to temperature and you add an amount of white vinegar, and then you bottle it. Now you have sriracha.
All right. Well, I guess I'm gonna try that with all those peppers I have, and even maybe a little bit in some barbecue sauce instead of Tabasco or
you could
sugar.
I haven't really tried this,
Or
but
honey.
I might because I make all my own barbecue sauce. You could ferment a barbecue sauce.
Yeah, me too.
The reason I don't ferment my barbecue sauces is because they're really easy to can. So I make a big batch of homemade barbecue sauce and then I can it. So now it can, I've got some barbecue sauce I made 3 years ago. Although I just opened up my last jar. I am out, and I still have
Me too.
I still have a month or more
Kevin,
before I'm going to have enough tomatoes to make a new batch.
Well, and I was looking for that big box of Portland, the non-sugar. It was
ketchup,
Portland's
right.
ketchup and I can't find it. I can't find it anymore.
Azure Standard.
So, okay.
Azure sells it.
All right.
That's where I get mine.
And is that a subscription thing?
Yes and no. I don't think, do you pay to belong to Azure? I don't think you do. I think you just sign up and you
okay.
Azure's that one where they're not going to deliver it to your house. They will, but it's outrageously expensive and you don't want to do that. Azure has drop points all over the country. So you'll look up by your zip code and you'll have a drop point some by you, and they'll have a date and a time, and you place an order by a certain day of the week, and then you show up and you pick it up wherever the drop point is.
Okay, I'll look at that because I didn't want
when you get into Azure Standard and you start seeing all the products they have in there, you're going to like it a lot. And sometime soon, I don't know if we have a date on this yet or not. I think we do. Jeremy, I'm going to let you go. The founder of Azure Standard, David Seltzer, will be on the show with us again here sometime soon. I just don't remember the date. Let's go to North Carolina. John, welcome.
Hey, Kevin. Good morning. Hey, quick question. I haven't heard you talk about it. About a month ago, I went in just to have some spots on my skin just looked at, and one of them on my arm turned out to be a basal cell carcinoma, and they want to do a scrape of it. I postponed it till October, but what's your take on that? Because now I'm real leery. It's like, man, that, I've never heard of anybody dying from basal cell carcinoma.
You can. It is usually a very slow growing cancer. So we don't hear a lot of horror stories about it. It really doesn't metastasize and spread like other cancers can. But it's still an issue. I would
so just have it scraped. That's what they want to do.
I wouldn't yet. I would find a functional medicine doctor. just to get them
Okay.
involved in the process and get their advice about this. And like I said, there are some really, really new treatments in the functional medicine world around cancer with things like ivermectin and fenbendazole and diet, and we're seeing some pretty incredible results. So again, the way I answer this question is, what would I do? If I ended up with
Right.
one of those as a diagnosis, I'd be calling Dr. Wolfson for a recommendation, and I'd be finding a functional medicine doctor.
Okay. Yeah. Because I mean, it doesn't bother me. And they took the little sample off, and it's just a tiny, I mean, I
Yeah.
don't feel nothing. So I've been eating clean and for, 6 years now.
You know, the
And
other thing
carnivore
that
for the last year and a half.
a lot of people, and I get all kinds of pushback on when I talk about this on social media. Um, we have been brainwashed to believe that that was caused by sun exposure, and it's absolutely not. So the
Seed
first,
oils.
yeah, the first thing we want to do is avoid the sun. It's the exact opposite. You should be getting out and getting as much
Yep.
sunlight and exposure as you possibly can.
Yep. Exactly. Okay. Well, I will do that. I'll just maybe see about
Perfect.
functional medicine.
Yeah, let me
and
know
wait.
how it
Go from
goes.
there. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Let's go to Ohio. Jesus, welcome.
Hey, Kevin, how are you?
Good. What's on your mind today?
I got a question about Cardio Miracle.
Okay.
I got the Cardio Miracle, I don't know, I would say probably 3-4 weeks ago, and I just had some of that today.
Okay.
And my question is, how is that something that one needs to take, or how do you know you need to take it, and how do you know it's doing something for you?
Yeah. So this, I have decided, and you listen to the show, you know, I'm not big on supplements. I'm horrible at taking them myself. I say I'm going to take this supplement, and I do it for testing, and then as soon as the testing is over, I stop taking it, even though I know it's benefiting me. I just don't like taking a lot of supplements. But I have settled on my dailies, the stuff that I take every day. I take Light Balance every day. I take Mind Fuel every day, and I consider that a supplement. And I take Cardio Miracle every day. Those are my 3 dailies. I take them all the time. I am now up to doing 2 servings of Cardio Miracle every day, because when I do, I feel better. That's the only thing I can't, you know, it increases nitric oxide. And nitric oxide helps us for a lot of reasons. One, it opens up our blood vessels, so it lowers blood pressure. That's one of the biggest benefits of nitric oxide in our body. And we're not taking nitric oxide, we're taking the things that help our body produce it. And that's what Cardio Miracle was designed to do. Now, over time, and the new formula, they've really improved this so that I consider this my most important daily now, because I get some vitamin D, I get some vitamin C, I get some really good high quality nutrients in one drink that I actually look forward to, so I don't miss taking it. And now they've added NAC, which is a really good daily nutrient, glutathione, which is a master antioxidant, and some adaptogens. So it really has become an easy way for me to take a supplement that kind of fills in all the little gaps that I might have. And I've just noticed that when I take it, I feel better. When I miss it, I can tell.
Okay. Well, again, like I had it for a while, I just never got to it, and today I jump in a truck and I open the package and I mix it with I think it was like 30 ounces of water,
Okay.
and I didn't add anything to it because I don't have anything here with me, and it didn't bother me, the taste of it.
Oh,
I
if you
actually
like the
like it.
taste of it, if you like,
Yeah,
and a lot of people do. I mean, a lot of
yeah,
people
I didn't.
really like the
I was
taste, but when they change things, people freak out. They always do. And some people just didn't like the new taste. I wasn't wild about the new taste. It was okay. I certainly could have, drank it. It wouldn't be a
uh-huh.
problem. But I find when I put some fresh squeezed lime juice in there, I really like it a lot. And I am to the point now where, and Lisa and I will both say this, it'll be towards the evening, and she'll look at me and she'll go, did you drink a cardio today? Because normally if I'm going to drink one, I make hers. If she's going to drink one, she makes mine. But some days we both get busy. And at the end of the day, we'll look at each other and go, oh, yeah, we didn't have our cardio today, and I can feel it.
Okay. Yeah, I won't be able to tell you about the first, the original taste or flavor, but because I never had it before.
Right.
But I actually, when I was almost finishing the bottle of, the water that I put it on, I was like, man, I almost wanted to go mix another one because I actually liked it.
Jesus, let me warn you. You will get to the point where you don't want to stop drinking this, where you will. And that's what I mean. This is why it's a good daily for me, because I know I can use some of these things. There's a whole bunch of minerals in there, and there's some. And I also know that the quality and it's the right form of all of these. There's lots of other dailies out there you could take. There's lots of mixes like this. I've looked at a bunch of them. I haven't been impressed. The reason we partnered with Cardio Miracle was because I was so impressed with their formulation and their quality.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna continue to, just drink it, and I hope. I mean, I was just wondering if something you need or you don't. Or
do you monitor your blood pressure?
You know what? I never. The only time I get my blood pressure taken is when I go to the doctors, which I avoid as much as I can.
Yeah, me too.
Or when I go get my medical, my DOT car. But every time I go there, they tell me I got a high blood pressure every time.
And we know that there could be a couple reasons for that. One, they test it wrong. They don't follow the correct procedure to test blood pressure. They just ignore the correct way to do it, and they just blow through it. And that alone can make somebody show up high just because they do it incorrectly.
Yeah.
But then the other thing is
what
they call white coat
syndrome. I know it's going to be high. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, there's a term called white coat syndrome, meaning that when you are in the doctor's office and they're taking your blood pressure, you're anxious about being at the doctor. And your blood pressure goes up.
That's me.
Right.
Because I know they're gonna say it's high, and I get nervous, and I'm like,
So,
I know it's gonna be high. I know it's gonna be high.
So here's one of the things you can do. Stop into one of the drugstores, CVS, whatever. Almost all drugstores have the machines today. Take your blood pressure.
Yeah.
Start drinking the cardio. Give it 2 weeks to 30 days. Go back and check it again. It's going to be lower.
Okay. I usually there's a Rite Aid that I go to, and they have one of those machines, and every time I check it, it says that it's high.
Yeah,
but I'm not worried about it because I don't feel bad. I don't feel anything. I'm not dizzy or I don't got lightheaded.
Let me just. I do want to caution you a little bit there. We know that there's lots of reasons why it's going to show up high at the doctor. Some of those reasons could be the same that it's showing up at the pharmacy when you do it yourself. So let me give you some advice. First off, if you want a truly accurate reading, you should sit down at that machine. And usually they're not very busy, but if you can't, you don't want to tie up the machine for 5 minutes, sit somewhere near it on a bench with your feet flat on the floor, your arms resting on your legs, and don't talk for 5 minutes. That is how we're supposed to check blood pressure. That's why doctors never get this right, because they rush you through all that stuff. So, and then there's the white coat part of it, the anxiety. But if you're sitting at there, make it as accurate as you can. Sit down quietly, relax, wait 5 minutes, take the reading, and then, start doing the Cardio Miracle since you just started. Give it a couple weeks to 30 days. Go back and check. It's going to be better. In fact, it should be completely normal if you're eating a good diet.
Yeah, I've been doing that for 6 months now, I guess.
Yeah. So,
and I remember the very first time I went to get my DOT card for the first job I got as a truck driver. They didn't tell me I have to go get it because I had a DOT car already because I had to have it to go to school,
right?
To driving school, and they sent me. It was in the morning. I had probably 7 cups of coffee before I even went there. They make me stay at the doctor's for like half an hour. They told me to close my eyes. They shut the door in the room. They turned the lights off. They told me to relax because she's like, man, your blood pressure's way up. I'm like, I just drink a lot of coffee. I didn't know I was supposed to come here to do this. I mean, I relaxed as much as I could, and then they took it again, and it went down, I guess, quite a bit.
Yeah.
And then like that's why they ended up giving me the car. But they almost didn't freaking give me the DOT car because of my blood pressure. But
Yeah.
I was like, man, I didn't know that. I just drink a lot of coffee. So
the single biggest benefit of Cardio Miracle is blood pressure. I take it because nitric oxide is really good for us in a lot of ways. Another secondary benefit for men, the purple pill for ED.
Yeah.
That is doing the same thing basically, but it's a pharmaceutical. But it is increasing nitric oxide, which increases blood flow because it relaxes our blood vessels. So our blood pressure goes down and our willy goes up.
Oh, okay. One more question. The minefield that I hear you talking about that, and I mean actually I got a bottle of that at the same time I got the Cardio Miracle. And you say you mix it on the coffee or whatever.
Yeah.
So can you just take that straight without mixing it or anything?
Yeah. You can also use it.
Okay.
You can use it to cook with. You can make salad dressing with it. You can make mayonnaise with it. You can drizzle it on your food. Use it like any.
But there's nothing wrong with just taking it like I drop the bottle and squirt couple of squirts in my mouth and boom.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
works.
I'm gonna. Okay, because I a lot of times I don't take it. I not because I forget because I'm busy. I'm not, and I don't want to make a coffee to do this, blah blah blah. And then just ended up the whole day went by and I didn't take it. But
yeah, just take it straight.
Okay, I'm gonna do that.
Perfect.
And that's pretty much all I have. But I between you and me, I'm gonna give you an advice. I know whether you want to take it or not, and I know you'll do whatever you want to do. But I heard you talking about elk, shooting an elk off your bed. I'm not. You might want to get a license and a tag because if you get caught by the Department of Natural Resource, the fines are really big.
I'm somewhat joking when I say that, somewhat, because I really could. I mean, and honestly, because it's right on my own property and my property's secluded, nobody. And look, you hear gunshots quite a bit. I'm out in the country. There's a range not that far away from, not an official range, but just a place where there's a nice backdrop and people go to practice shooting. And so the hearing a gunshot is not unusual out there where I am. And there's hunting going on during the season. There's all kinds of hunting going on. So I could do it. The odds of me actually getting caught at it are probably slim to none. But in reality, I joke about it. I don't even like the idea. Just doesn't even seem right to me. I'm actually going to get a license and go out. And I think this year I'm going to get a guide. I've hunted before. I've hunted deer, but I've never really hunted elk in an environment like this. So I will probably get a guide this fall and go.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. I always wanted to go elk hunting, but I'm here. I mean, the apps to get, because you gotta apply, and it's a raffle. The apps for me to get tags, they're slim to none. So
yeah, here it's pretty simple. I mean, we have a lot of elk out here, so it's not a big deal out here.
Yeah.
Like I said, I can wake up some morning and have 40 to 50 of them in my yard.
Yeah, I believe it.
They sleep there overnight. I mean, they come through a couple times a week. One thing I didn't realize, and maybe somebody listening might be able to help me with this. If not, I'm going to go do the research. I saw a map the other day of where elk exist in the United States. And they showed all the different places and they had colors and that kind of thing. And then the color where I am in Washington State was different. And I looked at it and we must have a specific breed of elk here called Roosevelt elk. And I've heard that term before, Roosevelt elk.
Those are the biggest elk there is.
Well,
that's Roosevelt elk is a huge elk.
It is. I was shocked at how big these animals are. The bucks get huge, But I did, and I've
Yes.
heard the term Roosevelt elk before, but I didn't realize they were so limited. They're only in really small areas of the country.
Yeah, and they're not everywhere. Even though there's elk in Michigan, the elk in Michigan they're tiny compared to the elk out west
Right.
or other states.
The Roosevelt elk are big. Now, the other thing that shocked me, we also have black-tailed deer. So I was used to
black-tail, yeah.
in the eastern part of the country. A white-tailed deer can get pretty darn big. I mean, I've shot whitetail in my lifetime. I've had some pretty big whitetails. And then when I was in Colorado, I was used to the mule deer. The mule deer are bigger than whitetails. I was shocked at how small these black-tailed deer are. They're tiny.
There is even a smaller deer than that. It's called sika deer.
Oh,
they're
yes.
out east.
I've seen
and
those.
They're
Now,
tinier yet.
now you want to see one even smaller than those, you got to go to the Florida Keys. They have they're called key deer, and they're only on a couple of the islands. Oh shoot, I can't remember the one that they're really predominant on. It's not Marathon. It's close to Marathon Key though. But the key deer, the big males are about the size of an average German Shepherd.
Yes.
they're
I heard
really
about
pretty
those
cool.
Too.
And
It's crazy. It's crazy all the different.
I know. And because they're on that little island and there are so many tourists, they are almost all basically domesticated. I mean, if you see them on the side of the road and you get out of your car, they'll walk up to you and you can hand feed them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So okay, well, if you go this year, just let us know how you did.
We'll do.
Enjoy the meat.
That's right. We'll do. And then I'll be.
And don't forget to order your bees for the spring.
I know.
They're only on the spring. Don't forget.
This year I was just there. Too many things going on. I didn't need to learn one more new thing, but I kind of was disappointed. So.
Yeah, I know.
Next spring.
All right, Kevin. It's all I got. And thanks for letting me know about the Carter Medical. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna take it every day, and then I'm gonna check my blood pressure.
Absolutely. Perfect.
I'm gonna check my blood pressure today if I can, and then I'm gonna check it.
There you go.
A couple of weeks or whatever.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. Let me know. Thank you. Let's go to Nevada. Jeff, welcome to the program.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. What's on your mind today?
Oh boy, what kinds of things you're talking about that are good? Anyway, I don't know. I called about 3 years ago a couple times. I had a staph infection attacked my spine and took my legs away from me.
Ooh, I remember.
And
yes.
And I was driving a truck, trying to go to the ER, trying to figure out what the pain was from. And then I just kept slowly losing my legs. And then I remember the doctor going, well, when's the last time you pooped? And I go, oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
And I don't know. So he showed me the pictures. And on the left side, my left side, it was pushing the diaphragm up. And that was all solid. And then the liquid halfway on the right side. And so I was just doing the catheter. I was just trained to do that and about ready to do it myself. And the PT doctor told me how to, of course, we did prunes and all that stuff, and how to just put your one digit in your bottom sphincter, that talks to your top sphincter, and everything comes out, and then bam, after many hours, I just cleaned out,
Okay.
But in the meantime, I was trying to do physical therapy, and everybody was saying everything was okay, but I couldn't do it, and so the pressure and all the membranes around my spinal column, those T7 and T8 actually blew up, but they stayed in place. He had to dial in. He showed me dialed in, and it looked like two little brains sitting there. You could see all the fissures.
Okay.
And I said, boom, you're going back to surgery, back to the hospital. And the first 11-hour surgery, I woke up in the middle of the night, and my legs were just randomly moving, dancing. And I said, well, that's a good sign. And so I just was bullheaded and started. That was in October. I was December, I got the surgeries. By the end of March, I was already walking, kind of.
Wow.
You know, if I could do it, you know, I just put my mind to how far, 10 feet, tree to tree,
Yeah.
you know, vehicle, I could make it, but I couldn't make it any farther than that.
Well, that is still a huge improvement.
I know, and it's just, man, I got a respect for the body now.
Yeah.
You know, and the mind,
So-
teaching the nerves to talk to your muscles, and your muscles actually doing what you want them to do. And it's just like doing a computer. You got to retrain it, keep until it's locked in. You know,
Our body is pretty incredible. You know, and what you're going through and what you're dealing with is beyond my scope. I mean, these are true medical conditions. But the one thing I know is no matter what we are going through physically or health-wise, a good, clean diet makes everything better. And that's my part in this. I'm not a doctor. I don't diagnose stuff. I just
I'm not
help
quite
people.
hearing you. You're going in and out for some reason.
Okay, I'm not. Let me check.
Oh, now you can.
Okay. Yeah, I was saying the medical issues you're dealing with are beyond my scope. I mean, you've got to have a doctor for those, obviously. But
yeah, I realize that. But
yeah, no,
my question.
Yeah, go ahead with your question.
Well, see, I was starting to walk before I could feel, so I stepped on a nail or a tack or something, and didn't know, and it festered in my left foot, and then I just had a little condo of bacteria in there, and it's been 3 years now, and I'm in the hospital right now, and he got in there, and all the toes are gone now, but he got in there and scraped out 4 more pockets, you know, that my wounds would never seal, you know, and I kept saying, there's got to be something in there. That's why
there's clearly something in there, but I can tell you this, a healthy person could have that same injury. The same bacteria could be present and their immune system would defeat it. So we have to look at why did you get such a bad infection and why can't your body heal it? My first question to you, because this is what I do, is what is your diet?
Yeah. Well, I try to be as
No, don't tell me what you try to do. Tell me what you do, not what you try to do.
How good it is. Even me choosing what I need to eat, I still get carbohydrates out of them, you know. But carbohydrates give me pain, so I learned from you a long time ago. I tried a couple times. I can't do buns on my hamburgers, and because immediately my shoulder would start aching. So, but it hasn't been the healthiest, and but now I'm here now, teachable, and grateful that I'm still alive, and I just want to conquer this.
So I can make it really, really simple for you, and then if you just take that advice and go do it, that would be the end of it. If you need more help, you could be in the coaching program, and I could help you every week and guide you along the way. But here's really how simple I can make this. If you can get to the point where 90% of the food you eat are animal products, meat, fish, eggs, that's it. No plant foods. If you can get to the point where 90% of what you're eating is animal, you're going to be fine. And this will start to heal, and you should get better. Now, if you're not, then that's when we could do a deeper dive into seeing why is your immune system so weak? Why isn't it getting stronger? But most of the time, that's all it takes. Just really get strict on the diet. And when I say strict, 90% carnivore is very strict. It really is.
I know.
If you get to that point and you're not healing, then I would say try the coaching program, and we'll dig deeper and figure out why not.
Right. And yeah, that's where I'm headed. And we have, well, my daughter has a 60-acre ranch, and
nice.
We got 3,000 acres in the trust that we're starting to. We're getting 3 little calves now. Excellent. I got a couple pigs coming.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Of course, all the chickens, and I'm going to order some fryers because the grasshoppers are crazy right now. Might as well fatten them up on grasshoppers.
That's right.
But so I'm headed in that direction.
Good.
I'm worried about all these. I've been on antibiotics 90% of the time for 3 years.
Here's the thing.
And what was
here's the thing.
No?
While there is an active infection like that and your immune system is so weak, you really need the antibiotics. So as much as I am against them, there are times when you need them. And when we have an infection this severe, then yeah, the antibiotics may have saved your life, but you can get off of them, and then we can work to rebuild your gut bacteria again, because your gut bacteria has been destroyed. That's part of why you're struggling with digestion.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
No, it is.
Sure. Yeah. And what was the product that we should take while we're on antibiotics, Onfantil or something like that, or what?
No, any probiotics will help, and lots of fermented foods.
Yeah, and I do a lot of fermenting, and I'm going to look on and get your yogurt kit, because I got the L-Uteride, and I got
yogurt is excellent for this. Any fermented food, probiotics, and we have a couple different probiotics in our store. I mean, since you've been on such heavy-duty antibiotics, we want to throw everything at it we can. So 2 different probiotics, fermented foods, yogurt, kombucha, all of that stuff.
Yeah, and I got the little fish tank cooker, and I haven't even got it out of the box yet, but
okay,
I'm going to do it when I get home.
There you go. Perfect.
That's kind of what I was wondering. I'm going to do a NutriQ, and then
excellent.
I got to keep my parameters so I can stay focused and get this done.
Good. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put you back in the queue, and I'll have Brittany pick up, and Brittany can help you get situated on all that stuff. If you want to be in the coaching, if you need some help with the new yogurt kit, whatever it might be, she'll help you out with that. Let's go to Florida. Pat, welcome to the program.
Hi, Kevin. I wanted to mention those 3 mechanisms of action for the fenbendazole.
Okay.
Number 1, the worms that the dogs get, they're made up of microtubules, their cellular structure. And it just so happens that the cellular structure of cancer, every cancer cell, has microtubules in it.
Oh,
so
interesting.
The drug goes to attack. Pardon me?
Yeah, that's interesting.
So the drug goes to attack those microtubules in the cancer cells, and then they sort of fall apart, and the body's automatic, autophagy type stuff comes in and clears up the destroyed cell. But that's just one part. Number 2, it inhibits the absorption of glucose and glutamine from the blood into the cancer cell. And as Dr. Seafried points out, glucose and glutamine are the primary fuels. He's never found any others that fuel the growth of the cancer.
Okay.
And number 3, it stimulates a oncogene called P53, and that oncogene actually helps to fight cancer when those oncogenes P53 are healthy. If you wanted to see some printed information on this, Dr. Paul Marek's book, Cancer Care, chapter 6 and 7, lists these newly talked about repurposed drugs for cancer.
What was the name of that book
chapter
again?
6 and it's called Cancer Care by Dr. Paul Marek.
Okay.
And at support at letstruck.com, are you able to search by sender?
No, but if you just put that it's for me, they'll send it over to me.
I sent it to you 2 weeks ago, that book and the book by Dr. Seafried. I actually sent a PDF of the whole book.
Okay,
And,
I'll check with the team, and they'll have it.
Yeah, and chapter 6 goes down, just list them, and then chapter 7 sort of explains each one. And of course, his first thing that the doctor loves is vitamin D. Separate from that, the fenbendazole, that's the 3 mechanisms of that action. The fenbendazole is a drug that's manufactured by Merck, Sharp & Dohme, and they're the largest animal husbandry drug manufacturer in the world. And they own the other drug, membendazole, and both of these drugs have been out for so long they're off patent. So they have no interest in having you use these. The membendazole I got for myself just to do a cleanse, my cost of serving is 20 cents a piece. I got the powder in a bag.
Yeah,
so you don't need a lot of money to take this stuff.
Exactly. It's pretty incredible that, these drugs have been around forever. They're dirt cheap. They're usually very safe. Not a ton of side effects on any of this stuff. And like I said, I haven't had time to do the deep dive yet, so I appreciate this book recommendation. I've got a couple others I know I need to read, but it's pretty exciting what I'm seeing.
I also sent a copy to Angie through support, and she said she was going to forward. I asked her to forward them to Matt, see if I could get Matt's opinion on it.
Okay, perfect.
So she might also have, having sent that through, you might be able to find it. The history of this drug. This drug is also, the Joe Tippin story. Do you know the detail on that?
No.
Joe was the guy that first popularized this thing because he was in a trial for a drug with MD Anderson. He was in a trial of 1,100 people. When the trial was all over, he was the only one who was cured. And he just happened to mention after the fact that, by the way, while I was doing your trial, I was also on a ketogenic diet and I was taking this fenbendazole. And they had to throw the whole trial out.
Exactly.
Because the drug didn't work. You're really going to laugh now because the name of the drug is Keytruda. So when he went through, which is a Merck Sharp and Dohme drug currently out.
Yep.
So when he went through the trial, that was the drug. And then since then, they've re-engineered this version of Keytruda. They partnered with none other than Moderna, and they're using part of Moderna's lipid nanoparticle process for delivering the drug to the body. So, it's a small world.
Yeah.
And Merck's involved in all of it.
All right. Well, you gave me plenty to work on. Thank you.
All righty. And one other thing,
Sure.
What's his name? The guy down from my neighborhood, Mercola.
Yeah.
In the past few days, he had an article about the sun and skin cancer. Did you see that by any chance?
I haven't. Is it a new article? Because they republish a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of stuff I see published by Mercola anymore, the original dates on them are like from 2012, 2017. So they republish a lot of stuff.
Right, 2017. Well, and this is a recent one. It may have been republished, but in this recent one, he has, sometimes he embeds little videos in there, little podcasts. Anyway, he's got a podcast in there. And I'm telling you, this guy that just called about the basal cell carcinoma, he needs to go and look up Jimmy Dore and that basal cell carcinoma. You can search or you can go in. It's like the past few days. I may have deleted it already, but I watched the Jimmy Dore video. It's just disgusting. The whole thing, the whole skin cancer is a advertising thing they thought up in the 80s.
Yeah, not only like a lot of things have they absolutely lied to us about this, but this one was created intentionally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's only one cancer that you get that's possibly deadly, and hardly anybody gets it. And they lump them all under the word of skin cancer. But there's many different kinds of skin cancer, and like you said, the one that he has probably might not be anything to worry about.
It's very slow growing and it doesn't metastasize, right?
Right. So I don't remember all the details, but that Jimmy Dore video, you can look that up. You ever hear that guy before?
Yeah. Yeah, I have. And
Dore,
I may have read this particular article and watched this video because it all sounds familiar.
Yeah. Oh, Jimmy Dore just, what an expose.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yep.
So I don't think that was out from 17. I think that's a new thing that just happened in the past few months.
Yeah, I think that
that's my
that one is. Yeah, I appreciate it. You gave me all kinds of stuff to work on. Thank you. Let's go to Indiana. Mick, welcome to the program.
Good afternoon. How's it going?
Good.
Good. Man, so many lies exposed in the last few years. Isn't it crazy?
It's kind of mind-boggling.
I think that's a lot of the stress. Like the whole world, I think we thought we grew up in isn't true. But anyway,
there are days where I feel like I want to do a whole show about all the stuff that's not true, but I talk about it all the time, and I'm still shocked by some of it. I'm still shocked by how outrageous some of it is.
I know. Me too. I kind of got on X kind of when you started. Well, it was when Tucker got canceled, and so many things. It's like, oh my gosh, it's everywhere.
So it's interesting you brought up Tucker because I'm going to see him, and because of the VIP tickets.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to get to meet him. I'm not exactly sure how all that works, but we've also reached out to him and to see if there's any way I could possibly get him on the show. That would be pretty awesome.
Wow, yeah.
Throughout all this process, when you're first off, they have to do some pretty serious background checks before you're allowed to in as the VIP. And I guess it's because you're going to have access and it's a small group. And so I had to submit a bunch of stuff for background checks. And then they ask you, if you had a chance to ask Tucker one question, what would it be? And would you shoot a video of you asking the question? And then I guess they choose people, and he does a segment where they film you asking the question and he answers it. And there's so many questions, but I'm sure everybody's going to think of the same thing, some political topic or some conspiracy theory topic. And I thought about this for a long time, and here was the question: if I could ask him anything, this is what it would be. You've watched his videos now that he's been independent. I can tell by your reaction. Oh my God, this topic and this topic, and he does a deep dive into all of this stuff. And my question to him would be, with everything with all these people you've been able to interview, with all these things you've exposed, how do you stay sane and hopeful? Because the more I learn about this stuff, the more angry I get, the more frustrated I get, and the more hopeless I get. Like, some of this stuff is so bad, how do we ever fix it? So my question to him is, how does he stay sane being so wrapped up in all of these topics this deep all the time?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I do know, like, I think it was a podcast that I watched. I think I even posted it, shared it to the tribe. It was actually an interview of him on the Sean Ryan show, which is another one that I found on X. But he's like really unplugged like all the time when he's not working, So and also he seems to have a pretty deep faith. I think those two things, I guess, is probably where you could.
I got to work more on the unplugging more often and for longer periods of time. I really do. I need to.
Me too.
I need to get my schedule where when I'm working, I'm really working and I'm accomplishing as much as I can in that amount of time. And when I'm done, I need to walk away from it and get completely away from it and go do something I enjoy, like wing foiling or gardening. I just need to do it more.
Yeah. I know it's just so hard. It's just grabbing the phone has gotten to be just such a it's just what you do when you don't have anything going on, and it's you really have to be intentional. Even just relationships in my family, I'm like, I gotta stop grabbing that dumb phone.
And look, you talk about conspiracy theories. All the social media sites, including X, Elon doesn't get a pass here. They're all designed to keep us hooked like that.
That's how they make their profit.
Absolutely. Every one of them designs their algorithms and their platforms, and everything about them is focused on getting you to stay there as long as they can get you to stay there.
Yeah. Well, anyway, as long as, get to my point, my wife, she has been doing strict carnivore for a little while now. One of the things that she's an RN, and she was talking about, she has this thing where, like, pretty much every morning until quite a while into the day, she has this just snot, like she'll have a mountain of Kleenex every morning, and she's just congested and constantly clearing her throat or clearing her nose, and we thought, well, maybe it's some kind of an allergy, and she wanted to do go the medical route at first, and she's going to try to. Anyway, it wasn't very convenient to get into like an ENT to start looking into allergies. And I said, well, why don't you, because she had done this Whole30 diet several years ago, and she was, so I knew she could do it. I finally talked her into why don't you just try straight carnivore, see if it does anything for you. Yeah. Well, she was very strict for 45, 50 days. Then we had a family reunion. We went camping and with her sisters. She had some drinks. That didn't seem to affect her too much. And she got right back on afterwards. But then, like last week or so, she kind of stalled out losing weight. That was the other thing. She was wanting to lose some weight. But we've had like almost zero effect with the congestion as far as that goes. And I just wondered if maybe you had any other suggestions on where to go with that.
Short term, we have a supplement that may help. But this is one of those supplements that I would use short term and then try to figure out why we would need this supplement. This is an immune system issue. So diet goes a long way towards improving our immune system. But the other thing that has a huge impact on our immune system, and this is the problem we're seeing with a lot of people, is stress. They're completely tied together. Yeah. Any excess stress weakens the immune system, no matter how good your diet is. And I've talked about this, how, I went 8 years without really ever getting sick, no matter how many shows I went to, if I flew, if I was around a lot of people, it didn't matter. I just wasn't getting sick. And then in the last 2 years, I've been sick 3 times. It's all been when I've been traveling and at big events, but that never used to happen. And it's stress and sleep for me. And I've got to overcome that stress. And it goes back to what we were just talking about. I have to get away from work more. I have to get away from the stress of what I do every day. And I just have to make that a priority and do it. And I have to work on my stress protocol more. So she could work on, minimizing and avoiding stress as much as possible, getting away from it, working on the stress protocol to improve it. That's what's going to fix this. The allergies are an immune system issue. And if she's on a clean diet and that's not helping, then it is stress that's creating the problem. The supplement, I was just ready to say it a couple minutes ago, and now the name has disappeared.
Is it that Histoplex? You talked about that before.
You. Yep, Histoplex. That's exactly what it is.
Okay, all right. So she was. The carnivore has seemed. She was. I think we were pretty sure she had SIBO or whatever. She doesn't have to take the Atrantil anymore.
Good.
The gassiness or whatever has gone away.
Excellent.
So which would make sense since it's almost all meat. But then she has begun to add some like vegetables. She just is pretty sick of the carnivore. She's just not going to be able to continue it like as a lifestyle. But she hasn't done any like high carb or bread or sugar. She's still avoiding that, but she has tried introducing some different vegetables just to see what
that's
happens.
okay.
And,
I mean, I still eat vegetables, and I'm picky about, which ones, but my favorites I grow myself, so I know they're really clean and well beyond organic. But summertime, I eat a lot more cabbage, onions, garlic. Pretty soon cucumbers.
Garlic is one that has not agreed with her. She said she gives her, I think heartburn, if I remember right.
Garlic's pretty powerful stuff sometimes. Yeah. So, but again, I grow my own. I have the varieties that I really, really like, and I'm looking forward, keeping my fingers crossed. One of my favorite things out of the garden, and it's kind of a one time, depending on how many I can grow, and then when they're gone, and I don't eat a lot of them other than that. But I love sweet potatoes out of the garden. I never realized how hard they are to grow. It's a tropical plant. I didn't realize that.
Okay.
So they need
I've never tried to grow them.
They need 120 days of sunshine and heat, and that's a perfect summer for us. We get those quite often, but you got to get the plants in the ground early. You got to make sure you've got them in a spot in the garden where they're getting as much sun as possible, and then you got to let them go as long as you can. And the crazy thing is, the plants themselves will grow and look beautiful and healthy, and they'll spread out, and then you go to dig them up and there's no potatoes under there at all.
Nothing there.
I've had that happen a couple times.
Disappointment.
Well, the first time I didn't expect it. I didn't know that was a possibility. I'm looking at these plants that have been growing for over 3 months, and they're huge and they're beautiful, and I'm so excited about sweet potatoes. I dig them up and I'm like, wait a minute, there isn't even a hint of a potato anywhere in here. There was just roots. I thought, what happened?
Yeah.
So then I went and read, and I hadn't started them early enough. One year I had such a successful crop. I think I filled like 4 or 5 5-gallon buckets with sweet potatoes. And
wow.
They were excellent. Yeah. So this year I have them planted here at the house, and I have them planted at the homestead. And even though we're only 15 miles apart, it is 2 totally different growing environments. So I'm kind of struggling trying to learn and manage 2 different places. Actually, I'm a little shocked. It should be harder to grow sweet potatoes at the homestead because the elevation's higher, and it's a little colder all the time there. But right now, for some reason, the plants themselves are thriving out there on the homestead. I mean, my plants here are doing okay. They're nice and healthy looking, but the plants out on the homestead are at least double the size of everything I have here. So,
oh, wow.
I know all I can do now is wait, because it's going to be
hopefully
probably
they come out. That's
like very late September or October before I'll know whether I have any potatoes or not.
So excited! You can't beat a baked sweet potato with butter with your ribeye.
They're so good. Yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, that's all I got for now. So thank you.
All right. Thanks for the call. All right. We're going to wrap this up today. Good show. Thanks for all the calls. It's been a busy day. Speaking of the homestead, I think I need to head over there and take care of a few things and get away from work in the news for a while. So I think that's what I'll do the rest of the afternoon. We'll see you back here tomorrow. We do have a coaching call tomorrow. So if you want to get signed up, there's plenty of time. You could sign up tomorrow and still be on the coaching call. So I'd love to see you there. In the meantime, be safe, be profitable, be fit and healthy. Always do the hard work and master